your content is slander.
I mean, the thing to keep in mind is that MAGA is this. It's taken over most of the Republican Party, and obviously most conservatives would probably consider themselves MAGA, but it's not all. And MAGA is MAGA is the issue. You know, there are people who identify as conservative and identify as Republican who are not MAGA.
Yeah,
I would go so far as to say that like conservatism is the issue, because if conservatism has allowed MAGA to do this. Like conservatism was the fucking, you know, the failing ideology that allowed MAGA to kind of like co-opt it and stick its fucking tendrils in and go, all right, we're conservatism now.
Yeah, I mean, like
you said it on the stream. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out now. He said me, so like I'm trying to understand. You said what? You said that you asked if all conservatives are bad, and you asked if how come they all ain't. Right? Is that what you're saying? I don't
know. I mean, the thing is, like I guess conservatism in general is something that I disagree a lot with, and like because obviously it's not my political direction. I guess a big problem, especially in America right now, is that the conservatives in power are fucking lunatics. You know, like MAGA is the main branch of conservatism in America. It's what has power. It's with only two parties, the one being Democrats, the other being Republicans. It's like, and then the Republican Party being made up of mainly Trump supporters and people who are just fucking insane. The people who I guess, you know, you'd call like a more modest conservative or someone who's a bit more sane, you know, kind of gets lost in it. And obviously blame can also be put on the many people who are voting for Trump and voting for these people, right? And that is a problem, but it's also like some people just believe generally in conservative values, and when the party that's kind of in support of that is just really fucking extreme, it's kind of
if we're gonna be real about it, I don't think this is really about this just happens to be the ideology that I think makes the most sense. I think that this comes from at the fucking ground level, foundational level of whether a person is someone who is the combination of several things. I think, like, are you someone who is self-aware? You're able to understand, your own, your own thought processes and how that the things that you say and do affect other people. Do you understand systemic effects, or do you think things happen in isolation? Do you understand patterns, or do you think things happen in isolation? You know, like those kind of all stack up to decide to usually will, be like someone's a conservative or a more liberal or progressive minded person if you are more. And so it has to do, I think, with how people are raised in like our emotional development as well as our education. These things that just kind of make up a person. And I don't think that conservatism being the one that's I do think that conservatism being the one that's so susceptible to conspiracy-minded bullshit and to hatred and violence, because say what you want about fucking Antifa or whatever, but you can look at the statistics. Conservatism, white nationalism has been the fucking, leading cause of domestic violence, terrorism in the last 20 years. And so, like, I think that one of these things obviously is objectively flawed and like should not be it shouldn't exist. I'm not saying that conservatives need to not exist. I'm saying that we need to get to a point where we can find a way to get people to engage with ideas better and to fucking raise their kids better and break cycles and shit like that. I don't know.
I agree it doesn't feel like that long ago when anti-vax was like a fringe left conspiracy theory.
Are you seeing it yet?
Prosecutors allege a media company linked to conservative influencers who regularly reach millions, including Benny Johnson, was secretly funded by Russian state media employees.
And a little busy this week in the old news section of the internet.
Been following you. I kind of thought You were the expert in all conspiracies. If anything, it was entertaining. I always found it entertaining.
Exactly. It's not so entertaining now that it all came true.
No. We have a very special show today.
Hey, Gavin, what's your favorite video game?
It's already started.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The Emperor is not dead, actually, and The Last Jedi didn't matter, and he's here. And my favorite part about it is he wants to be Rey.
Yeah, and then he kisses Kylo Ren. I got to start by saying I'm really confused right now because I cannot tell the difference between Lauren and X-Ray Girl. I'm don't have them next to each other. I'm going to be referring to the wrong person for the whole show. Damn it.
And there is one man who has joined us in the fight against evil. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers.
Seriously, congratulations, man. Hitting 2 million. I love it. I appreciate everything you've done for us.
We got Nerdrotic here up on the channel. The great Alex Jones.
The Fandom Menace, aka The Fellowship, the group of YouTubers that generally get together on Friday Night Tights, seem to be very close and regularly collaborate with several people who have been directly involved in efforts to undermine or overthrow the U.S. democracy. These content creators do have an ulterior motive. We've said this all along. Are you seeing it yet?
Find in favor of
Big American Party! Yay! Everybody disco dancing. Lots of fun. Good time for all. I'm having very good time. Robot dancing? Oh no, police! Quickly in here! Who is driving? Oh my god, Bear is driving. How can that be? Full of midgets. Korean animation studio. Everybody work. Everybody work. Everybody work. He big mean man whip us. There's no escape this time. No, it is you who will be the one escaping. Not Pikachu. Please don't sue. Ha ha ha. Axel Foley, Judge Reinhold. Tom Cruise. Oh no. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Show me the money. Oh no.
Next week on Clerks.
Give me all your money. The safe too.
Hold on. I'm new here.
You're all out of paper towels.
Hi. That intro was designed to alienate the normies. Anybody that's like looking for some kind of normal ass show, fucking wrong spot, buddy. Wrong spot. All right, hey, I am the Shillcast. That's me. But also, so is let's see, who am I gonna throw on here? This one. You know what's funny, audience, is that they have the power to bring themselves onto the stream. They just don't. They wait for me to awkwardly introduce the thing. So, like, blame it on them. All these awkward.
This isn't awkward at all. What are you talking about?
It's, you know, I mean, I guess it's better than if we let this guy do it.
Babe, get me. Oh, sorry. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
How you all doing?
Big American party.
Yay.
You know?
Put the Kung Fu film back on.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't even know
that
who
was
are these
pretty
losers?
awesome. Yeah.
Hey,
Also,
man,
God,
what
I
are
haven't
you
seen
talking
Clerks the animated series in a while. That was a fun throwback.
Y'all keep talking about fapping in chat. This is not the Fapcast, guys. This is not what this is. It's bizarre that like that's the one that like that one gets the least views of all the streams that I do, and yet there's like, you know, some kind of resonance there. I don't know.
People just like to talk about you fapping. So
People
I think
like
so.
you fapping, man.
Well, then there was that video that came out, you know, of me fapping.
I mean, you constantly release videos of yourself fapping. So
I'm sorry, I never should have
happened.
released that. By the way, I know that was in confidence, but
Well, Dat Boy 22, we are going to get into that. And you know what? Maybe we should just kind of, I don't know. I guess we don't have to introduce all the topics in case we don't want to give to one or something. But you know, depending on where you're watching your stream, you probably maybe see a different topic than the other channels might have.
yeah,
we are on multiple channels. So if you're on the Show Clips channel and you're just like, they only have 7 people watching.
Oh,
go fuck
burn. Burn.
Then just know that on the Turf Nation channel, we currently have 1 viewer.
What? No. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that 1 viewer is an absolute fucking legend. And we love you.
I mean, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if she's out, but like, she seems like she might go both ways at least, you know? I don't know.
I had to get myself a Jim Lee foil cover.
Ooh.
Anyways, yeah. Oh man, Bob, I had just read that new Uncanny X-Men this morning. I had not read that yet.
Oh, the
damn, Gail
one that came
Simone's
out
on
last
fire.
week. Yeah.
Yes. She's
no, that
killing it, dude.
I no wait, I covered it on I covered it Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't watch your coverage of it. I'm sorry. I didn't watch.
How dare you? How dare you? But yeah, no, goddamn, like I said, like that is quickly becoming like my favorite book every time that's released. It's like, oh, yay. You know, and I've been loving like the Tom King Wonder Woman run and the Ultimate Spider-Man. Those are probably my 2 favorite books of the year so far. But man,
actually, Ultimate Spider-Man
jumping up there pretty high. You know,
the last few pages of this newest Ultimate Spider-Man were some of the best comic book I've ever read.
You see, I haven't read that yet. Although it looks like it's winning the poll for Sunday.
It's number
so I'll read
10,
it soon.
and it's like, dude, it's jumped back up to maybe be better than the Ultimates for me. It's just like, it does not go where you think it's going to go. Every time you think, oh no, here's where it's going. And the cover does play a part in misleading a bit, but I appreciate that actually. Anyway, what about you, Turf? What are you reading?
Well, I've slowly been making my way through Ultimate Spider-Man. I think I'm on issue 9 currently.
Oh, that's not. You're not too far off. No.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm
pretty
gonna head on to the other things in the Ultimate universe. Probably Ultimates next.
Mhm.
And then after that, on my Marvel Unlimited app, I want to check out some DC comics.
Yeah, Absolute Batman was a banger. I recommend Absolute
No,
Batman.
let everybody check your accounts and make sure Marvel went ahead and deposited just now.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Oh wait, they did it. Know what? Marvel's woke and sucks.
Yeah, they
Garbage.
That is true.
Where's my deposit, Marvel? Come on.
Oh, they just deposited, Bob. You didn't wait.
Marvel's great, guys. I love diversity.
Honestly, Ultimate Spider-Man is really cool.
Fucking great.
I mean, it's also like it. I have read some, parts of Spider-Man runs before, but this is like my first time properly giving it a shot and like really being engaged with it and taking my time with it. It's just it's really cool because it's doing something way different,
I think you're familiar enough with all the components that are there to know that this is mixing it up, right? Like
absolutely. Like I know the Spider-Man formula very well, from
like that for instance, Uncle Ben is not a character in previous Spider-Man runs. That lasts longer than like issue number, well, not issue number 1, but Amazing Fantasy.
Yeah, no, typically he's dead by issue number 1.
Yeah. Typically he doesn't make it past, a first episode or a first movie, if he's
First act,
in it. Yeah. So it's like, I understand the typical Spider-Man stuff because I've not the comics, right, but I've gotten a lot of exposure to it from every other piece of media that Spider-Man's a part of. So it's like I get all the ways that this is different, but then still the old stuff that are very important to Spider-Man stories is still being a part of it, just revamped and stuff. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I also really like J. Jonah Jameson as not being just,
I know.
Yeah. Just not being a complete dick
it's
all
almost
the
like
time.
just having a friend. It's like just having a friend makes him a cool guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
all it took. See, Spider-Man was the reason J. Jonah Jameson hated him. If Uncle Ben was alive, they would just become friends, and then cool.
Like the things like obviously I don't know too much about like J. Jonah Jameson in the comics and stuff, but my favorite times that
he's a dick.
My favorite J. Jonah Jameson moments are the moments where it's like he has a spine, it's like he hates Spider-Man and stuff, and he has his
there's been some
there.
really cool moments, like obviously he's known for being the guy that fucking, and I imagine they might do this in the MCU at some point, where like he kind of shows that there's more to him than the obvious kind of grifting reactionary kind of type shit. Like in more recent, I guess, comics regular continuity, he found out that Peter was Spider-Man, and he's like completely fucking utterly dedicated to keeping his secret and helping him out and stuff like that. And it's just a interesting reversal of roles, because like he like saved his life or something, and then like but basically I don't remember how they explained it. I need to go back and read that stuff, but like putting it into context, like, oh, this whole time it's been Peter, like it made him understand how heroic Spider-Man actually is or whatever.
I mean, there's that great I was just gonna say there's this great moment in the first one that I love where Green Goblin goes after his source for the photographs, and J. Jonah Jameson just is like, I don't know, they come in anonymously, which is complete fabrication. We know Peter just gives them to him. But,
the question there
there's
is
something a bit more to it. Yeah.
The question there is that just his journalistic, kind of like don't give up your sources thing, or is that actually him protecting Peter?
Yeah. But I feel like either way, it still shows like a backbone there, like he's not
he's more honorable than you might give him credit for,
Yeah. And I also like when J. Jonah Jameson going after Peter also has like a little bit of a moral question there, right? So like, maybe it's good that there is a voice that is speaking against a person who's kind of just, going against the law and like doing their own kind of justice. I always like that in superhero stories.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like ironic because Spider-Man's really the one kind of superhero that's not going to do the more than is necessary kind of thing. He's always going to generally do the right thing.
Yeah.
And yet there's this guy that just treats him like a complete fucking, scumbag menace or whatever.
Yeah. It's also like, I want him to be like on his case, right? And like we want him to not I don't want to think that J. Jonah Jameson is right, you know, but like in instances where there's some big, like Spider-Man has obviously saved New York, right? But a lot of damage has happened and stuff, right? It's like, it's good that there's,
Well,
I like that there's a voice that speaks against that. And
once
stuff.
both of you read number 10, I want to hear what you think of it, because like, man, there's just, and you'll know it when you get to it. Like just once it gets to a certain point with some characters having a conversation, that's what's been amazing about this run too, is that like, yeah, there's great art with like action scenes and stuff. That's all cool. But the fucking excellent parts, the compelling parts, the like absolutely gripping parts are conversations.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit.
Like, that was one thing about issue
as, like,
1.
other Spider-Man comics that I have read.
Yeah, issue 1 has like one brief action scene where like Green Goblin blows up something. It's like one page, and the rest of it is just like a character exploration of all these characters around Peter and Peter finding himself. And
I'm trying to think. This one almost has an action sequence. It's like starts to look like it's going to, and then it doesn't, and that's what makes it fucking awesome. You'll see. God damn. Anyway,
I'll have it read for next week. Absolutely.
I got an itchy foot situation, man.
But like, but like one part, just to finish up at least my thing here about J. Jonah Jameson, is like, obviously I find it funny when there's also different renditions, right? And like it starts to look a little bit more like Alex Jones, but I also feel like I get a little bit tired of that, you know, like both with the MCU version, but also in Spider-Man 2, like the video game.
Yeah.
Compared to the first one, like the first one, there is still a lot of this, right? Like he still is a conspiracy theorist, and he is very much looking like that. But I just feel like it's ramped up even more in some parts of Spider-Man 2. And it's just like, yeah, I like when there's more to him.
Yeah. So you're saying that Spider-Man 2 is not the best superhero movie? Or
I was talking about the video game.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, he won't be objectively wrong like that. So he won't be.
I mean, like if I was to say the best superhero movie, I would probably say Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
then Spider-Man 2 is up there. And the
the
one movie I definitely would not say.
You don't want to pick Endgame because I've already picked it, right? And you can't like look like
I was gonna say the one movie that I would not say is the best superhero movie whatsoever is Endgame.
We're gonna have the same argument.
Reasonable, yeah.
Should we just have this debate again?
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, we are. What I think we're gonna. I started writing down, by the way, some awards to give away and stuff. Especially now that we have like a pretty stacked field, honestly, compared to what it was whenever we first had the idea. You know, so if you guys have any ideas for like awards for anti-fan content, and also just chuds, you know, if you want to give some chuds some awards, you know, I don't know, throw some ideas out there, you know, something like best, you know, video exposing a grifter, or, you know, or worst chud argument, or anything, you know. I mean, if you, by the way, worst chud argument, I think a couple of nominees might be in the video that I uploaded yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was that's a unique
the brown paper bag.
Yeah,
there are no Asians in America.
Yeah,
there's not many Asians.
There's the reason fucking Tilda Swinton was in Doctor Strange was because there's not enough Asians in America.
There's like 4 Asian actors, and they were all working on another project, so they had to get Tilda Swinton. So
they were doing a sequel to one of those, you know, My Big Fat Asian Wedding movies or something like that, and they were just all, you know,
they were all doing Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They were all the Crazy Rich Asians.
So there were no Asians left,
right,
for that role.
They were actually out of country and filming too, so it's kind of weird. There's literally no Asians in the country at that moment.
Exactly.
It's wild.
No,
golden chudberries. I mean, there's gonna be the Shillies. You know, I think that's the way to go, right?
Yeah.
The Shillies.
I guess. Does anybody know about the Just a Robot stuff? Because I'll admit I haven't had time to research it thoroughly.
I do know about it. Yes. I also have like videos.
He's an idiot.
Okay, so here's the brief rundown of the thing. He tried to groom a groomer. Okay, so there's this apparently, and look, this is me not knowing anything about the Cinnabear 03 person. I don't know anything about this person except out of this context, and so maybe there's something I'm not aware of, but it seems to be the general consensus is that they, not sure, I think she had at one point had sent some lewd stuff or said some lewd stuff basically to a 14-year-old, and admitted to this. Okay, admitted to this, and So that's like not even apparently, or wasn't in question until apparently, I guess at some point they decided not to admit to it anymore. I don't know. Why would you do that? Nonetheless, Just Robot had and made a video saying, look, I guess I need to speak up here. Or somebody with a large enough platform needs to say something, but like, I don't think that she didn't do it. This isn't true. And then he proceeds to give the same level of arguments and defenses for that he did in our videos.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's very, very like essentially you can feel this man's YouTube career dying as you listen to it.
Oh God.
Yes. Okay. So
anything being as bad as that is not good.
So Reggie in chat says Cinnabear03 is an artist who sent lewd art to a minor, was also accused of misconduct to her roommate. Yikes.
Damn.
And he like full-throated defense and stuff, and then he went on CHUDBLOCK's stream, and CHUDBLOCK, apparently this is just something people do whenever they want to make things worse for themselves, from what I can tell. Funny aside, the very first live stream I was ever on was a CHUDBLOCK stream. When he was much smaller and I was much smaller too. Nonetheless, CHUDBLOCK is pretty, diligent with asking questions and getting to the bottom of things and holding people to account. And he did, and it didn't go well for Jar, man. So that's where it's at apparently. He's lost a lot of subs already. It seems to be everybody's seems to be in consensus that he's kind of stupid. Maybe he might be kind of dumb, guys.
What?
He might have bad morals too,
No. You're kidding us right here.
Yeah, listen. He has flawless logic. He is the only one that I've seen who realized that there is a lack of Asian actors in America, and that's why they killed us.
I mean, Dane, can you even pass the paper back test?
Yes.
Well, look. See, the thing is, we're actually the dumb ones because. Okay, so the gooning part, Bob, if you're going to hold me to account on the title or the thing I put in the thumbnail, it's not really gooning. I just thought it sounded funny, and so there is technically, just not literal in the way that I understand gooning to be, but nonetheless. So there's chat logs as well as I think even audio of him calling Cinnabear. So there's evidence of this actually happening where he's like trying to, get with her and like flirt with her and shit, and it's just really cringe and bad, and and it's no good. It's no good.
So I'm not gonna lie, you said Bob the gooning part, and I was like, when did I bring up the gooning part? I had to look at chat.
No, it's talking about the old Bob there.
Which I will go ahead, Bob the old ways. I will say you're the best Bob when it comes to Lord of the Rings. You got me beat on Lord of the Rings, but that's it. I'm the best Bob and everything else.
That's true.
Yeah,
he's been racist, sexist, and homophobic for 10 years, and I mean,
Bob.
No, talking about. I'm reading Reggie's chat. I'm kind of scatterbrained today, guys. I got a little bit of a headache.
What?
I apologize.
Yeah. Oh wait, here.
Yeah, I mean, and so I'm not gonna call this person out who said this, but like somebody that we are friends with, said that they used to be kind of watch his channel like years and years ago, and that the question of whether or not he's actually legitimately like a sociopath has come up before because of like his inability to empathize with people, which has been a problem before. So that's just obviously nobody here is a whatever would diagnose that kind of thing, but I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just that we don't understand high level ideas like the brown paper bag test.
Yeah,
maybe we don't. I'm just confused. Like, has he been around for that long?
I want to say he's been around for a while.
Because or was it just me or misunderstood something? In the video, didn't you say that he was like his age? He was like born in 2001 or something.
Yeah.
Or is that just?
Yeah, I just think he was very young, kind of young whenever he started YouTube. But I mean, so are you. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 7 still.
Right.
I'm just like, yeah, damn. If he's been around for a decade, he was like 13 when he started.
Potentially.
Yep.
He joined YouTube May 9th, 2015. A year
Wow.
after me.
Well, he used to use a robot voice thing
Yeah.
before, and honestly, it was probably better off. I actually have, now that we're thinking about it, I meant to put this into the video, and I didn't, and I'm kind of glad now because we can listen to this live and react to it. I have what used to be the ending. If you remember in the video when we looked at his wiki, we talked about it. I guess it's quoted in his wiki, and so we read it, but like I don't think we really understood fully what was going on there. Let me find it real quick. But it is buddy. Once you kind of know what it seems like he's referencing in this thing, it is upsetting. Give me 1 second here.
I'm sure it'll be reasonable and thoughtful.
Yeah, here we go.
As he always is.
I've seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just the robot marches on.
I mean, like, if this is the kind of content you were making back then, and you like most of your teens and your early adulthood, like, have been this, like no fucking wonder you're not going to turn out very well.
Well, so apparently, I don't know. I'm guessing that this might be the other this is the only fucking source for that melody, and I recognize it. Bob, have you guys ever seen American History X?
It's been a while.
So you don't get taught that in Danish schools.
There is it's a movie about Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And the one played by Ethan Suplee back when he was a big old boy, he's driving around in his van at one point listening to the song that's just a straight up anti-Semitic, gross fucking Nazi song, and he's singing along to it, and that is that melody exactly. And I was thinking maybe whenever I was like, oh, that melody must be from something else, like as if the Nazis in the movie had gotten the melody from something that existed.
Yeah.
But for what I'm seeing on looking around is that's just the source of the melody, which he then is using here. So
Jesus.
Okay, so the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Sounds like
is that the name of the song from the?
I was just gonna say, like, it sounds like he's probably a fan of American History X, but probably doesn't understand it.
I mean, I don't know how you can be a fan of that movie and not realize that you're watching a fucking big fat gross Nazi, not gross because he's fat, but gross because he's a Nazi, singing that song. And it's literally like, we're gonna something about the Zog machine, Jew by Jew by Jew, or something like that. It's not subtle.
I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Media literacy is not necessarily something we associate with people like Just the Robot.
Okay, so this is what I thought. I was right. The Battle Hymn of the Republic is an American patriotic song that was written by the abolitionist writer Julia Ward Howe during the American Civil War. So it's written by an abolitionist in that movie. It's literally co-opted by Nazis because they co-opt everything. So okay, so he's got that layer of that degree of maybe he just heard it from there, and maybe he's never seen American History X. I don't know.
Sure.
Song about John Brown. That's fucking awesome, then.
American History X.
Hey, fuck you, man.
Oh.
Why you keep trying to be one then? Come on, get out of here.
Wow, no, where are you getting that, Reggie? Man, we're smart.
We're smart people. Look,
but we're smart.
We don't do
people.
the brown paper bag test, but we're not smart enough to do something where we literally bring up a test that nobody uses anymore because when it was used by old school racists. But he's so smart, he can use that test to make a point, but then like he's also not using it, so he doesn't agree with it. He doesn't use that test or anything, but he did. But you're too stupid to understand.
Listen, I do find it interesting how he was able, like what was he just talking off the? No, that's right. That was an ADR segment where he brought up the brown paper bag.
That's
right.
right.
Like, what did he Google it and think, oh, this is gonna own them, and just drop it in there? And it's like, I don't think this is what you intended, bro.
No.
So yeah, like I was saying, think of some nominations, some awards. to
Yeah,
give
he's
to folks.
definitely up there.
Like most sus, possibly Nazi adjacent YouTuber type. Who knows? Anything. It's all valid, man.
Yeah.
And
Anything.
we'll do a stream about that sometime pretty soon. Maybe trying to have some guests on and stuff.
Yes.
I did want to look at just the first part of a video, real quick, from a guy that I've reached out to this guy, see if he maybe want to come on the show sometime. And basically, what I'm doing now when I reach out to people is I'm like, you're welcome to come on the show basically whenever you want to. With rare exception, we'll have some cool folks on. But like, it's got to be not just anybody, but like somebody that, for example, has a bunch of videos where they're doing some based fucking takes about how grifters are stupid grifters.
That sounds reasonable to me.
But in the meantime, well, I'll look for that because I don't know exactly where it is. I do know where this is. Did you guys see the video of Trump at McDonald's?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh God, yeah, I looked over a bit yesterday.
It's pretty crazy. Check this out.
Whoa!
What? Wait, this actually happened?
Yeah, of course it did.
What? Oh my God, he's so bad at it.
Yep.
Damn.
That all really happened.
What would actually happen if Trump was actually at an open McDonald's during like a popular time?
During actual hours.
Yeah.
And actually having to do work instead of people just being like, yeah, nice, good job.
I've worked at McDonald's 15 minutes longer than Kamala Harris did. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You haven't worked at McDonald's, bro. You haven't.
Yeah, that is funny. Did you guys see that? There's now a fucking in like 10 states an E. coli outbreak that started at McDonald's.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, Trump was just spreading it around. What? He thought people would enjoy.
I mean, let's be honest, guys. Do you think this man wipes his ass well? I don't think so. I doubt it.
I don't know if he can reach. I'll be honest.
Think he has a bidet? If I was rich, I'd have a bidet.
We just started going. We're just getting going. He claims he served 2,500 people, and yet the McDonald's was shut down, and everybody that was in the building was vetted beforehand, and it was like a complete stunt.
2,500 people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck does he think he is?
Even during rush hour, you don't serve 2,500 people in 15 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, you don't. Right here. This right here is TTB in gaming.
Racism. Oh yeah, we're not doing like the intro, whatever. I don't look the best, but I don't care. It's just racism. Great. Here's some racism for you guys to start your morning. Let's go racism.
Keep in mind while we play this, like as we've already learned, he is an actor. Now that we know that in the future, now go back and watch this knowing that information and listen to how he talks.
Yeah, he's a mouthpiece.
And tries to manipulate you. Listen to how and his voice cracks when he starts talking about dramatic things. Just listen.
Oh, I'll catch on the voice cracks.
Look, I've loved games all my life. I mean, I played them all my life, man. From Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my God!
No, you didn't. Golden Sun.
He's leaning really hard into it, obviously.
And it started with my dad, right? He got me
Wakanda forever.
He understood, that games are an art form. It's a great space to enjoy and escape from the reality of the world. And he passed away a while back. And I'll tell you what, I'm still figuring it out.
You didn't meet him though.
The way his hands moving under that cape looks fucking ridiculous. Sorry.
By the way, if you're like a British black person, why? I'm sorry. I have no black person to bounce this off of.
Yeah,
why are you wearing your
no
Rafiki or
because he's leaning?
Yeah, you're right. He's wearing
why
this
Oh
on.
my God.
Why are you wearing the cape? The side
I got my Kwanzaa costume on.
These are the whitest motherfuckers ever.
Oh my God, this is disgusting.
They're horrible.
Leaning heavy into it too.
But he doesn't know his culture.
They only cap out whenever they say spear chucker.
But listen.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, I've heard that clip of that one.
He brings up his dad, and he's like, okay,
It's I mean that's just the worst part of it. They go on this shit for fucking ever.
That I needed to try and process my grief in a way that felt true to me and him. So I took the biggest risks of my life, and through everything that I had in making a game, a piece of art that honored him, an ode to the people we have loved and lost,
Wow, that is pure
I mean, this
fucking
is like
manipulation.
fucking Hamlet here. This is the
Pure
main
manipulation.
Like,
Alright,
he's
guys,
too
before I
poor,
show you
Yorick.
this piece of
I
shit,
knew
These
that I
people
made,
are
let me
so
tell you that
miserable.
I'm going to immediately tie it to the death of my father, so that you can
Is
only
that
think
not-
of that while you're watching. You
Oh
bastard!
my
That's
God.
so-
This is
Jealousy, by the way,
disgusting.
'cause Gerard
That's
did
like
the same-
feminine energy. That is.
Gerard did the same damn thing with his mom passed.
Yeah. So, first things first. What the fuck? How at this point, these guys are.
My internet's giving kind of crappy. Sorry, I'll give it a second to try and get better.
Yeah, I don't even know what I just watched. Like there was
No, that was just mind-blowingly
Yeah.
bad.
like
Like at first, I was
oftentimes-
paying attention, trying to pay attention to what the guy was trying to say, because I was like, God, I haven't played Golden Sun in a while. That was an awesome game.
You know what? I can tell you guys what we just watched. Honestly, I mean, yeah, it's all disgusting, but also what the most disgusting part of it. Did you see who's up in the top corner of that one?
I wasn't recognizing a whole lot of people. I recognized Grums. Obviously, he stood
Yeah,
out.
Grums.
He's hiding up there, and you know, it's hard to tell when he talks if he does because you know, he doesn't actually appear on stream. But there's a Hypnotic up at the top.
Oh, it's Hypnotic.
Oh
So-
God.
These are literally what they're doing is intentional. They're just they plan this shit. They before the stream, they're like, let's just fucking do a, you know, same way that Ryan Kennel does now, and it's become obvious that this is what these fuckers do. You're like, we're just gonna fucking push it as far as we can and fucking, you know, say as much racist shit as, you know, I don't know if they use the word racist or if they just say based shit or who knows what they say.
Yeah.
But they know what they're doing, man. They're saying intentionally inflammatory shit, and that's in a way, some way, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a victim of the stuff they're talking about, so I can't really say. But to me, it seems somehow worse than just bigotry of like this cynical, like doing it because you know it's gonna piss people off kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, there's ignorance and then there's cynical fucking bigotry, and it's just you know, yeah, exactly. He's the leader of the bigot army, so it's all like this wink and, you know, nod, like, oh, we're the bigots, right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, he actually does bigotry, and it's like, yeah, there's no irony. You're just stating facts at that point.
Let's get back to it because he's got just a couple minutes of statements after that are really good.
Oh,
we got it.
We've got a surprise guest.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
wow.
I did not expect that.
Chariot, what's up?
Hey, Chariot.
Hello,
Hey,
welcome.
Can you guys hear me? Do I sound all right?
Sound
Yeah,
great.
Sound great.
Excellent.
I just got a new mic, so I've been setting this stuff up. Hopefully,
Ooh,
fixing some of the
fancy.
audio problems I've been having previously.
Oh, yeah.
What type of mic did you get?
This one I got this secondhand actually from a friend, so I was able to get it used. It's technically it's just a, what do they call it? Like pod mic, I think is the name of it. I forget the brand.
Oh.
But it's got one of those, not the USB cables. I'm not an audio engineer, but the other type of cable.
XLR?
Yeah, XLR cable. Yeah. So it's,
Nice,
hopefully the
nice.
sound comes through a little bit crisper.
No, sounds great.
Sounds
Nice.
really good.
All
Yeah,
right.
sounds excellent
I
to
mean,
me.
So does it seem like you guys like this group of fuckers right here is actually like trying to out chud the normal chuds, the you know, top tier chuds almost?
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
well, I will tell you, they absolutely are trying to do that because they're trying to stand out. That's what the lower guys will do. They will try to out chud the upper guys.
Because
Yeah.
as
They know there's a big part of.
I don't even think that the EFAP or Friday Night Tights would get that bad, and I don't
No,
think so.
not-
Either.
not
Not for
absolutely.
that sustained
I don't know.
period of time.
Yeah, because we definitely have clips of them getting that bad, but like for a sustained period like that, probably not.
Yeah, like I was about to say, usually when there's a clip of around that length of Friday Night Tights or one of these other streams, there's like one or two things that I'll go after, you know, that I'll where it's pretty bad, and then that's more simple to talk about and to criticize. But I feel like here was just every single fucking second.
Yeah,
it was just something new, and something horrible they said. And it's like, damn, they really are just trying to say the most insane shit they can think about.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind is that EFAP is going to, like, they're not mainly going to say stuff like that. Their big issue is that they're going to do objective analysis of film and just be kind of elitist and, you know, make people think they're getting objective analysis as factually correct. And, you know,
They
you can just
create
repeat
the
what they
pseudo
say.
intellectual
Yeah.
framework that supports the bigoted takes, the obvious bigoted takes.
Yes. And then Friday Night Tights, that's Nerdrotic. Nerdrotic, if you watch his content, which if you pay attention to my streams, yeah, I watch some of his content. He is really good at not actually saying bigotry, but like we all know what he's saying. Like essentially he brings it to the line, but we all know what we all know he's crossing the line, but like he's not technically. He threads the needle quite well.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's listen to what TTB and gaming. I don't know what else he might go by besides that, but
oh yeah, I just want to say this guy rocks. I've been seeing some of his stuff, and it's just
he's
banger
been
after
leaning
banger.
more into this direction, and it's fucking everything I see kicks ass.
What the fuck? How at this point, these guys are racist. And it has to be stated, and it has to be shown, and it has to be known. Because now when you see them criticizing anything, you know through what lens they're looking through it. And the lens is quite simply this. If it don't look like me, and it doesn't have titties that jiggles, it's bad and wrong all the time. That's it. That's their playing plan. That's it. That's all they care about. All they fucking care about. You have a list of like the most unwashed asses all in one video talking about how someone doesn't know their own culture. Some fucking random white guy telling him, this black person doesn't know his own culture. I'm telling you he doesn't know his own culture. What's with the Wakanda Forever thing? How the fuck are you going to say someone doesn't know their own culture and your only reference to Africans is a fictional country from a fucking movie based off a comic book?
Just to add in right there, based on another video that I've seen of his, it may sound like he's got some kind of like disdain for comics or something, but he doesn't. He's actually a comics fan. So
nice.
That was just he was pissed off about the racism they're saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's not like black people are like fictional. They're also in the real world as well as comics.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Africa is actually a continent and it's crazy.
Absolutely.
It's real, man.
Well, I mean, obviously they're criticizing his garb and saying, it's Wakanda forever, ignoring the fact that a lot of the stuff you see in Wakanda is based on actual African culture. And
you have to these. I mean, these guys are dumb, but they can't be that fucking dumb. So like that's what tells me that like in some ways they're leaning into the being dumb to be more bigoted, right? Like I don't know.
The thing is, there's an audience for this and they know it, like there's an audience from the Friday Night Tights people, whereas like a good chunk of their fan base are fine with them going a bit further. They know they can't because there's also some of their fans who probably don't want them to go that little step further towards the bigotry and stuff, and they always want to try to keep some I guess goodwill in some sense, but these people, they've understood that they can go the whole way and they won't be punished for it. YouTube's not going to do anything about it, and there is an audience there for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it really can't go unstated how much like guys like the people on that the many really of the same guy that we see on screen on some of those live shows like Friday Night Tights. I think people who are watching their content, even who are good faith actors who are just, not in the right on this, I think it can't go unstated how much their picture of Africa mentally comes from like infomercials and like charities and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's all like crying, emaciated children, and not like the contemporary like cities and landscapes that people who live in densely populated areas in a lot of these countries actually experience. So it's really, I mean, Wakanda as a fictional place has this kind of Afrofuturist kind of landscape, and obviously that's not real life, but like I think sometimes these people, chuds, kind of react to it in this way because there's this kind of implicit understanding like, well, Africa couldn't possibly look like that. Well, like, a lot of these countries just kind of look like a lot of places in America. Yeah. And if you showed me like a zoomed like out shot of like a city skyline and you told me like, oh, that's in Nevada, I'd be like, oh, sure, that looks like it,
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's many places in many different countries in Africa that are very, that are a lot more advanced than I think a lot of, especially these types of people, think that it is. I've personally lived in Nairobi in Kenya for 4 years of my life, and it's I mean, there's, you know, like with any country and every city, right, there's a lot of problems, and there's also a lot of poverty. There's a big wealth gap in that city, right? But like there's also, you know, massive malls. There's there's a lot of fucking culture in that whole country. It's like a lot of people just do not know much about Africa and the many different countries and cultures there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
I want to also show this bit too, just so you know, anybody that, because I know that one bit that it was really quiet in his video, the volume was pretty low. So if anybody was just reading the text or not able to hear clearly what they're saying, I don't want there to be any mistaking. This is a different clip.
No, I was just going to say, like, if you begin in the opening seconds of your video by trying to denounce the idea that your being black has anything to do with it, it only makes it look more like it has everything to do with it. That's all I was gonna say.
No, that's what I did earlier.
Like that.
Sing us the song, you're the colored man.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, there's two of them.
It was one of our goals from the outset to have this positive.
Well, God, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like,
That's crazy.
And then I want to point this out because you know what I said about you know, this is them just being cynical. Is then you look at the replies and subscribe here.
Yeah.
This is somebody calling out the racism in the fucking in the thing, and then just Hypnotic. Subscribe here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that guy. I mean, the word shill gets thrown around a lot, but a shill is somebody who stands on the side of a thing and tells you to buy it, in a very literal sense, especially if it's a scam, which, you know, conservative ideology is. So
yeah,
you know, I'll leave that unremarked upon.
And then you know, I couldn't help but to bring this back out because this guy's complete fucking pussy. I'm sorry, but like Hypnotic is the biggest bitch. So I'm gonna just go ahead and play this clip here. It's pretty short of me and Eric Bunks a while back.
Went into the stream and
so this is after he had covered all of us and he'd covered all of our faces in cum in his thumbnail and stuff too, which is very, very odd to me that he took the time to do that. Just like so much cum. It's bizarre. So
DJ had a talk with him,
huh?
DJ had a talk.
No,
with
that's
him?
actually me on the stream right there. I made my thumbnail or my thing is Hypnotic and
yeah. If Hypnotic loves cum as the name didn't tip us off.
Yeah,
he didn't put that himself?
No. Then the word balloon there says like something. I think I put like I love cum, give me cum, yummy yummies or something like that.
Said you are a coward in a mask. Send me a link right now. I said it multiple times.
And he is. He's literally fucking just reading articles from Bounding into Comics and shit. He doesn't add anything. He just, you know, reads an article and then makes fucking like memes from 2015 or whatever. Yeah, it's and that's
Dane, that's uncalled for. He doesn't just read articles from Bounding into Comics. He does that Park Place too.
Yeah,
he covers the whole spectrum.
Thing he will never show his fucking face because he is a goddamn coward who loves cum.
Why didn't you show the part where you were caught in the lie? Also, Eric, let me know when we can schedule. Which lie are we talking about, Hypnotic? Which lie? Because it's a long live stream, and I don't got a lot of time.
This. What a fucking pathetic bitch who loves cum. You love cum, dude. You need to
on your
admit that
channel. That's on your channel. That's on your channel.
Fucking love some cum, Hypnotic.
That's on your channel. Jimmy, at least be in my channel, Hypnotic. At least come to fucking my channel. I love Dane, but
he's scared. He's scared of you, man. They're all fucking scared of you. Like, honestly, it's hey, leave your cum fetishes to yourself. Oh, you want to be on the channel? I see. You're welcome to be on right now, man. Fucking man up, dude. Man up.
Let me do this. Let me do this.
Man up right now.
I'm very curious.
What the fuck are you doing that's so you're so busy? If you can't fucking get on right now, you're just a scared bitch.
Are you asking to come on now?
No, he said it's got to be scheduled.
Okay, all right. So we won't do it now.
Oh. So yeah, I mean, I'll admit I used the Eric July tactic there, but you know.
Well, I mean, he scheduled, and then him and Eric had a discussion. right?
He wanted to know Eric is not an idiot, thankfully, and he recognized that scheduling it 3 weeks out would have put it into Pride Month, and he just that's something smelled weird about that.
Yeah, that does seem weird. Why
considering the guy was in chat for like an hour, he could have just jumped on just as easily. You know, it's what's he doing? Making cum pictures, probably. I don't know.
It seems like something he likes.
How many edits of you guys do you think he has on his computer?
Oh my god!
Oh god!
Somebody check that man's hard drive. I'm concerned.
Well,
so much of us drinking milk, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Whoa, we got a tough guy in chat here. He's up, Philip. Yeah, imagine following Hypnotic. Like he doesn't even say anything. He's like he literally is just he's just a platform for other fucking, you know, as TTBN said, unwashed asses to say dumb shit.
True.
It is kind of a like a free money machine though, to be a PNG tuber who silently sits in calls for extended periods of time while other people try their best to make jokes about things, or to just occasionally interject with just something, just like observations. It's like it's kind of like the XQC thing where you watch somebody else's video, you go, whoa, chat, wow, is this real?
But it's also like I mean, the only thing better than that, the better job would be to be like Grums, who just like the most fucking cardboard stale anti-woke takes, you know what I mean, like, and just whatever fits whatever he needs to say at any given moment. It's like you can tell he doesn't even care. He's just saying the shit, the buzzwords, and and then he's like a 60-year-old man with a fucking VTuber thing going on. Like, come on, man, fucking like
that's pathetic.
Anyway,
it's classic.
I'm sorry, Lucifer. I didn't mean to bogart the audio.
So there's like a weird thing going on where like all these Detroit rappers are endorsing Kamala. I don't know.
Yeah,
works for me. Works.
Don't want to get a copyright.
You might want to skip
one.
a bit. Yeah, we might get copyright claim.
In the whole state of Michigan, mean a lot to me.
You know what I was saying was crazy, man. This timeline is fucked.
The Slim Shady endorsement is crazy. Damn,
think about it. 20 years ago, he was the most toxic public figure. Now he is endorsing a presidential candidate against the new most toxic fucking public figure. It's insane.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, 20 years ago, Dick Cheney was the most toxic public figure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think as far as like I don't think Dick Cheney had a grip on the culture the same way that Trump does.
No, he did not in the nightly news. Well, I guess except for all the war stuff, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that whenever he shot that guy in the face too.
You know,
I actually in the quail hunting regard.
Oh god,
with all the support from like big popular celebrities for Kamala Harris, I almost get like really angry because it just feels like a bunch of really wealthy and privileged people getting together to gang up on just a poor service worker.
That's true. A poor McDonald's employee,
guy who's just trying to make a living at McDonald's.
Yeah,
it's not okay.
It's like last month, Jacob.
All these Democrat elites, they hate the working man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Donald Trump, famous working man.
Yeah, he's the hardest working man in politics.
True.
But, you know, and I don't have any video of it. I don't know if they were there or not, but like he's not the only Detroit rapper that endorsed Kamala. Also ICP, Insane Clown Posse, the Juggalos. They spray Faygo Cola everywhere and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know what to do with that information, man. I really don't. Like,
me neither.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Maybe they figured out magnets. I don't know.
Maybe they did. Maybe Kamala's a big fan of their music. I don't know. Like with lyrics like let's see. She ain't afraid to admit she likes dick. She ain't afraid to admit she likes her pussy licked. Okay, I'm not going to go any further. It gets actually just really, really graphic from there. So,
well, I'm a progressive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
it would be pretty crazy if they did like another presidential debate and she walked out to like bump heads or something,
Yeah.
Or like she's in the crowd and like somebody else like Walls comes out and they start playing the real Slim Shady and she gets up
Whoop,
on the
whoop.
crowd.
Whoop whoop. Isn't that what the SCP does? They go whoop whoop, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no. Instead, play I don't know. Play God. What's that one song? Hang on, I gotta look this up.
Oh, the one song. I remember that one.
Man,
I love one song.
I'm honestly surprised that Chariot knows more ICP songs than I do.
Hocus Pocus. Play that one.
Yeah, that actually is
that'd be a great Harris Rally song. That's one of my favorite
have an
hip-hop lines
appreciation
of all
for
time.
rap music? What makes you think that? I mean, seriously, what makes you think that? Because what they do is kind of like an abomination of now. You know, not trying to shit on their music right now. Good on them if they because I was reading about them a little bit yesterday, and they still do kind of have a pretty big following. Like it's kind of crazy that they still command a, you know, they sell albums and shit. You don't hear anything about them. You never really did, except for whenever something stupid would come up. But like they have maintained a pretty good following for a long time. I guess, you know, trailer folks got to listen to something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Violent J is one of the great lyricists of our time. In that song, he says, and I believe these are the words, I met Malenko. He gave me 3 wishes. That night, I fucked 3 fat bitches. And I think it's like Shakespeare.
It's art. It's art.
Yeah.
Yes. It rhymes.
Yep. I mean, plus also, how do magnets fucking work? You know?
Yeah.
You ever think about this stuff, man? It's crazy. It blows your mind. Do they even know? Do people know? How do we even find out that information? All right. But you know. Yeah, but science is a liar sometimes.
I like that you didn't get a reaction from the one joke and you jumped ship to another different joke.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Just seamless.
That's what I do. Gotta recover, right? Can't let it hang there. I mean, because like, what am I gonna do? Just quit YouTube or something?
To a head, we finally make the decision. Maybe we should just take care of ourselves and stop pushing as hard as we can to the point where our heads are going to explode and our eyes pop out of our heads. And that's what happens yesterday when we're at a point where I don't want to put my family at risk. And there's limited things I'm willing to say because of the psychopaths who threaten us every single day and the very serious threats that we do receive almost every single day. But as I mentioned,
I mean, and it's really frustrating whenever a YouTuber who just makes really just innocuous content, like him, and he's just like trying to entertain people and give his peace of mind and stuff, and like then people going to get violent and threaten him and stuff. That's really unfortunate.
You know, I think I have a lot of sympathy for Tim here because, as we all know, he was the victim of a terrible crime that could befall any balding man, where his beanie was snatched at a rally. There's footage of it online.
Yeah,
it's very, very traumatic. And I imagine, and I don't know if this is what his family is like, but I'm picturing 3 very small Tims kind of following him like ducklings. And I can imagine if their balding heads were revealed when their caps were snatched at rallies, you know, that could be very traumatic for them. So, I mean, I guess I'd have to ask, what fucking family?
Well, so that's what he says. He says he's going to take care of his family, but then he also later on or earlier, I'm not sure which order these clips that I have come in, but like he says that he's going to start trying to make a family because he doesn't have one, and he gets made fun of all the time for not having kids. Apparently.
Well, by the way, if you ask him, it's not his fault. You know, just poor guy.
I'm imagining him at like the Charlie Day style conspiracy board with the red twine. And at the top, he's got like it's like to do, like settle down with family. And then like step 1, acquire family.
Yeah. Listen, this is just a dude he's an honest YouTuber. He can't get a family. I mean, he just gives his honest opinions on stuff.
What's up with
Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world.
Yeah.
We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
Think about all the trouble that's come in the news all the time ever since Ukraine started that war.
Yeah. It's pretty
Yeah.
mean of Ukraine to start that war, you know?
How could they do such a terrible thing to Russia?
He made Russia attack them. They did.
Yeah. Russia had no other choice but to invade Ukraine.
No, but I mean, the real tragedy is that what we found out also yesterday is not just that he's maybe quitting YouTube, or unless he's just doing some stunt to get attention. Who knows? In the last couple of weeks of the election, that is maybe even more likely. Or maybe it's likely that the Russian funding has dried up and he just, can't get sponsorships anymore. Maybe because he's fucking radioactive brand. Who knows what the fucking truth is here? But
it doesn't
this
matter
is
how
definitely
much
the
he saves
truth
for Ukraine.
that his beanie was actually a magical artifact that was holding back, his true form. It was magic spell. And somebody, whenever like Chariot said, the beanie was removed, and now we know that this is just what he really looks like.
The poor guy.
So
I thought maybe if it got torn off, it might be like Men in Black, where there's like aliens in skin suits.
Oh god!
And maybe it unzips at the back. But
I almost went with that, but then I was thinking, wouldn't it be funnier if maybe he just was missing a lot of features for some reason?
It's part of a
like
mask,
it's like an
too.
enchanted item that disguises him.
Feels like a Batman villain.
He looks like
the beanie face.
Which one? Seriously, which one do you guys think it is though? What's most likely? Is it the sponsorships dried up? Is it the Russian funding dried up? Is it what do you think? Is it a
I mean, I
could
think
be a
Russian
couple things.
Oh, go ahead, Chariot.
Oh, I just wanted to say he was in a legal case, getting served and attempting to represent himself. By the way, way before the Russia stuff got outed, there was something else where he was one of the conservative people who was getting sued because he showed that picture of that Latino guy and alleged that he was that neo-Nazi shooter, and it turned out to be misinfo. And that guy has been suing people for damages. And his lawyer actually called into the Majority Report and talked about how Tim was trying to represent himself in meetings with the lawyer, which I'm sure went great.
Always does.
For a guy I don't mean to diss people who didn't graduate high school. You can get a GED and it'll be a perfect equivalent and be very successful.
Well, he dropped out in 7th grade, I think.
Well, he dropped out and then he didn't really acquire more skills after that. And then he just thinks that he can just go toe to toe with. I don't even think I could do that with a lawyer. You need special education to do that really well.
And just to make it clear, whatever you think of me, I actually got a GED. And then I went and got a bachelor's.
Dude, it's a good enough diploma.
GED?
That's what I would say.
What's your bachelor's in, by the way?
Electromechanical engineering.
Oh, that's super dope, actually.
That's awesome.
Very STEM, STEM ass fucking degree.
Here's another bit of a clip here. Maybe we can find out. We can suss out the truth here.
I'll be completely honest. If the show got banned right now, it'd be a huge weight off my shoulders. I don't make money from the show. It's really stressful. I work 16-hour days. I could work 8-hour days and then skate the rest of the day and still.
He doesn't make money from the show. What does he make money from?
What
I think
does he get?
Rich people do this sometimes where they say that they don't make money, but what they mean is that their expenses are so large that their commensurately large paychecks don't comfortably allow them to also have a bunch of disposable income. This is just giving my family are starving. I have to budget the cost of owning my own skate park off of the.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? He kind of gives it away in here. Because he's talking about well, we downsized to 2 employees, blah, blah, blah. I think what it is, instead of having guests, have local guests, he literally says that. I think that's where the fucking expenses are going, is employees and flying fucking Sam Cedar and whoever else to his fucking compound, because that's the only way he'll do debates. I think that's it, honestly. And so he's just we can't afford to do that anymore. It's not worth it. People aren't watching it, the numbers that they used to. Because they aren't. I don't know if you guys have looked at any of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at his channel right now. His numbers are not what I would expect.
Be rich.
His live
and
numbers
this is
are all right, but his videos numbers are not good at all.
Extremely difficult. People get mad that we don't tell them all the details. Why? We can still get a strike. We can get a strike right now, even though the show's been deleted. Doesn't matter.
And then he does what we were talking about earlier about what fucking Hypnotic and those guys and Ryan Kindle does. He does a little bit of that here too, I think, where he's like, I'm going to do a segment where I intentionally brush up against the terms of service and see what happens.
I can get a call right now from Google and says, we don't care what you did, we're banning you. And so I'm desperately struggling to navigate censorship waters so a show can exist that will have a positive outcome that resists.
By the way, content warning, some phobias and things.
And also, real quick, that where he's complaining about, Google could call him up and end his show immediately. That's true for pretty much every single fucking YouTuber.
Also, like everybody on any social media, like Twitch is infamous for this. You can get banned and they won't even tell you why, and you have to like apologize to them.
Yep.
No, what like what I know it was a short while, God, it was a while ago, but like Vosh and Hassan got banned for the use of the term cracker on Twitch. Which was
cracker, yeah, because actually I did a stream about that.
Yeah.
I did a stream back then talking about how like it's not the same thing as the N-word.
No,
and the reason we know that is because nobody will say the actual N-word, but people will say cracker.
Exactly. I will say cracker. I'm not saying the N-word.
Yeah, also I feel like if white people can't say cracker, but it is considered a racial slur against white people, then who can say it? Like I don't that doesn't make any sense.
What if you just want to eat a cracker?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Turf.
How dare you?
Things like vaccine mandates, rushed vaccines, whatever your argument is. It can help push back against things like open borders, the dissolution of our community, and kids getting their balls chopped off. But you can't just do that by being an ogreish retard who runs full speed at YouTube's gates, screaming, fuck you, over and over again.
Oh, this is about Ian. Okay, I understand.
Very practiced. Very fucking practiced, Tim. And then one more real quick. This is just funny as hell, I think, because look, I'm on the autism spectrum, so I can think this is funny, but like imagine having a guest on who like after you kind of go on one of your little rants, your guest just like it's like, are you fucking autistic, dude? Because that's exactly what happened here.
Shut everything down, and if we wanted to salvage IRL, we got to get it back down to 2 employees.
Okay. Are you on the spectrum? And I don't mean that as a negative.
I would believe the answer is no.
Okay, because you're very, very very
meticulous?
direct. Yeah, my friend Matt McClowry's
I think that's exasperation, not autism.
Okay, well maybe that's true. Maybe
because we've not talked about this stuff on the show before.
Oh, you've never done it. Okay.
Yeah, like I've never come on and be like, I think I'm gonna end the show. You know what I mean?
This is our first.
I feel like
you
it's
have
a blanket
couple
term,
times to me,
but it's
been in
like
some dark holes. Like I said, like a year ago, you had like a whole week of where you were like in the down and dumps. And
yeah, I mean, honestly, he probably is. He probably is. Like we can smell around.
I mean, there's probably a lot of people who are on the spectrum who aren't diagnosed. It won't surprise me.
I mean, that could explain why he had a hard time and dropped out of high school or middle school or whatever the fuck. Because like, if you're on the spectrum and school is not just fucking, you're not jiving with it, then it's the worst thing in the world. But then if you're like also arrogant enough to think that you don't need to learn anything else, because school wasn't challenging for you, then you become Tim Pool basically, but not rich usually.
Yeah.
I'm still on kids getting their balls chopped off.
Oh,
as
they
Paul
love
Joseph
to
Watson used to
drop
say,
that in
big
there.
if true.
Where's
Big
that
if
happening
true.
at? Are they?
Oh, well, I don't know if you've heard the political campaigns in Ohio, but apparently Sherrod Brown is taking all the illegal immigrants and essentially aborting them after birth and then transing them. That's what Sherrod
So
Brown
they're
does in
transing the
Ohio.
abortions?
Yes.
Crazy, man. What are these fucking crazy radical leftists going to do next?
I know, it's insane. Yeah, they've almost. I've seen it started to crawl into Facebook, where it's become a meme. The obnoxious ads against Sherrod Brown, because, like, actually talking to people, I've only heard pretty much positive things about Sherrod Brown, and I think he's actually one of the better senators. He is very pro-union, which honestly we need more pro-union representation in Congress. But yeah, I'm all right with Sherrod Brown. I mean, get rid of that JD Vance guy, but
if you want to get real technical, I'm not like an expert on how the spectrum works or whatever, but I would think that autism spectrum means that you're somewhere on the spectrum, whereas like neurotypical people are not on that spectrum of neurodivergence. But I I feel like that, maybe 100 years in the future, if we get that far, they'll figure out that to some degree everybody's kind of on that spectrum. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see what he's saying. Yeah. I imagine, as far as the technical spectrum, I imagine everybody's on there. But like the expression on the spectrum is almost certainly talking about range.
I prefer the term neuro superior for myself. That's just me.
You would.
All right. Well, that's Tim Pool. He's doing some shit.
He's been canceled, guys. Listen,
maybe he's just mad he didn't get a Civil War.
Did you guys? Somebody pointed out, actually, I think it was Wraith in chat, and I saw this right at the end as well. That first clip of Tim where he talks, the one of the recent ones about quitting the show. He's got a skateboard next to him, like he does in some of the clips. It's got what looks kind of suspiciously like an iron cross on the board.
Yeah, let's bring that back. It is kind of like
I thought that was interesting.
It's
also,
like enough of a benefit of the doubt that it could be coincidence, but also it could be that because it's a signal to people. I don't know.
I'm sure he's just a big fan of intersections.
We'll see.
Oh, of course.
To a head.
That is.
It's not quite. It doesn't quite have the resemblance, but it when you look at it more closely, it doesn't quite have the Iron Cross look, but it has almost
I wouldn't be inclined to entertain this if it wasn't for the fact that he had Milo and fucking Nick Fuentes and Kanye when he was in his Nazi phase. If he's not in anymore, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we pulled it back up because I wasn't sure if I had seen that right. So it's good to verify. It's a popular skateboarding brand. Okay, I see.
Is it a popular Nazi skateboarding brand?
Well, yeah, not that. I mean, if it was like a metal band, that wouldn't necessarily prove anything. But I guess I don't think skateboard brands are known for having any infamous problems like that. So I can't speak to that.
Yeah, it's like
I don't.
He also plays. He also thinks that he's in music. He's into music, like he's a musician, and he really sucks at it.
Oh yeah,
from what I've heard,
guys. Like we all know, Tim's show is called Timcast, right? Do you want to know the great name of his band?
Timcast.
Oh yeah,
it's Timcast.
Hell yeah, dude!
Because he's so creative. Just call everything.
Why would it be called that? Why would it? Is it just like a branding thing?
Maybe he just.
Hey Tim, what should we name our newborn son? We gotta
think. If you start a podcast, then you call it Timcast, and you're Tim, and you make
it's like,
fucking gajillion dollars on that podcast through Russia or whatever it means. You might think that's the coolest name ever, and you want to just you can't think of anything else. It just consumes your mind. So whenever you decide to do your shitty fucking watered down garbage version of early 2000s fucking limp radio dad alternative rock. Then you might just go, you know what? That's a good name for my band. I'm gonna call it Shillcast.
Yeah. To give you guys an idea of Tim Pool's music, imagine Nickelback but watered down.
Oh God.
Oh, I'd say it's
Nickelback,
like one
but
of
without
those,
the sauce.
Yeah, without the edge.
It's kind of like one of those kind of prog rocky kind of 2000s era kind of bands, but with the way the sound comes off, it doesn't really have anything about it that makes it really unique. When you listen to a band, you usually want it to kind of have some kind of oomph to it.
Yeah.
My favorite Timcast lyric is did you know I left you there staring at the heartache in your soul as your heart fell to pieces, or something like that. He says heart twice.
Deep. So deep.
That's
almost made me cry with that one.
I had friends in high school who were in bands that wrote better lyrics than that. My dude has got to get more creatively involved. I bet if he practiced, he could probably make something good, but you got to work on yourself, dude.
So from what I understand, this is for real. The Tim Pool's defining flaw that he somehow became rich despite it, I guess probably because right wingers propped him up, is that he's fucking lazy. And so he got famous for put on the map rather, I guess, doing Occupy Wall Street coverage, and there's the people that were reporting alongside him back then have come on, talked about it before, and they're like, the dude wouldn't leave the hotel a lot of times. He would just kind of sit around they were out there talking to people and going, doing journalism and shit, and yet he somehow managed to make a name for himself by just going out a couple of times and being a dipshit. and otherwise he wasn't like interested in learning about, you know, what was going on at Occupy Wall Street and like why people. And it just, yeah, there's Vadim has a really good video kind of going into how he grifted his way to the top.
Oh yeah, the Occupy Wall Street stuff is huge, because if you go into some of the, I think there was an article that got written years and years ago that comes up, but it's like something about him like potentially being like a rat, and like how everywhere he went shortly after the cops followed. Which is super suspicious.
Sure, yeah, I mean, generally that's not something you want to have happen.
Yeah, like when this one guy gets involved, the police keep showing up. It's just a mystery, you know. Things that only a few of us knew about, all of a sudden the police know. That's really weird. It's a very strange situation.
Listen, we'll never know the answers.
Yep. What else we got?
If only I had a blade to cut through Tim right now. Sorry, that was a bad.
You know who else doesn't have a blade? Marvel.
Oh man.
That's what you get at Shillcast. You get good transitions.
I actually did a stream a few months ago where I said that I think that they need to fucking just axe this version of this movie. Because so if I'm gonna go find the article that I operated from back then. While you read this, Bob.
Well, this is the newer one, but yeah. So they're making a big deal out Blade being removed from the Marvel release calendar, which happens with movie studios. I want to stress, like, people are making like, oh my God, Marvel Studios is falling apart. This is actually one of the very few examples of Marvel doing this. It has done that. Like, Ant-Man was supposed to come out in like 2009 or something like that. Marvel rearranges stuff semi-regularly, and what makes Marvel unique is that actually, like, they do it, but like almost everything they make they announce will come out. Compare that to the DC schedule that was released back before they did Justice League, and that bombed. Marvel has a really good track record for getting movies out, so occasionally one falling through the cracks doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I'd also rather them like postpone it if it's not going anywhere, right? Like, I don't think that in itself is the problem at all.
Well, to my understanding,
sorry,
I was just gonna say, to my understanding, there has been conflicts going on with Mahershala Ali wanting a specific type of movie. It's not clear exactly what's going on. But you go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so I had a video where I literally was just like, look, once I read this article, it became like I completely flipped on how I understood this thing, because, you know, when you at this point in the MCU, you don't suspect that they're going to do another Ed Norton Incredible Hulk thing, but that seems to be exactly what happened here, honestly. So this is an article from June. That's when I did the stream, I guess, called "Why Blade Can't Cut Through Development Hell." Hampered by strikes and changing studio strategy, Marvel's Mahershala Ali starring vampire thriller is a case study in stops and starts. So it's star Mahershala Ali is said to be, and by the way, you know, as me and Bob were talking about before stream, he's a fucking fantastic actor, and we would love to see this happen.
I love him as an actor. Yeah. I think he'd be a great Blade, but
Ed Norton's one of my favorite fucking actors, period. Like, he just is.
Yeah.
And like, still, he caused problems with his fucking ego on maybe not even ego. Let's just say that Ed Norton didn't seem to understand, especially that early on in the MCU, what the project was overall.
Yeah.
And it's not about you and what your ideas are. This is about an interconnecting thing. Whatever you feel about that, that's what it was. That's why he didn't get to come back. But
give you an idea of how much I respect Edward Norton. He got me to like a movie called Primal Fear, a movie that stars Richard Gere, an actor that I famously find duller than dirt.
Richard Gere's fucking terrible. So he's said to be increasingly frustrated. This is June, who had been attached to the project since 2019. He had handpicked the most recent director that had left, Domingue, after the project lost director Bassam Tariq in September 2022. At the time, Blade was in pre-production and about 2 months from principal photography, but Marvel came to believe that Tariq was not the best fit for the project, according to sources. So why would Marvel hire this guy and then get rid of him? Well, because this is the key information here. Mahershala Ali called Marvel and said he wanted to be Blade after he won an Oscar for Green Book. And I think that kind of is important. You know what I mean? It's kind of the Rosetta Stone of this whole thing, because like he basically he was riding high. He just won a fucking Oscar, and what's Marvel going to do? Go no, we don't want to do that.
We don't want.
So they literally had this Oscar winner, fresh Oscar winner, call and say, I want to be Blade. They say, okay, yeah, of course. And then, you know, when an actor has that kind of stature, they're going to give him more. You know, he chose the director a couple of times out of the several directors that there's been. He's chosen some of the screenwriters that have worked on it. One of the screenwriters that worked on it, by the way, is freaking X-Men 97 guy, Bo DeMaio.
Bo DeMaio?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he is a good writer. I want to make that clear. I think he's a very good writer.
Marvel had presented Ali with a list of directors for consideration, but Ali conducted his own search after having concerns that the list largely featured filmmakers who were untested at the big studio level. Okay, so there's right there. That's him rejecting a list of stuff from, you know, and that's why I don't feel I'm not sitting here defending Marvel and saying that their fucking corporate decisions aren't a part of this, because they definitely are. But like, it's not just that. He has at times exercised an inordinate amount of influence over the project in a way few other actors have on Marvel movies. Part of it stems from its inception, which began where he called the studio after winning his Oscar for Green Book and saying he wanted to do Blade. And this is a really important thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Ali has envisioned Blade as his Black Panther, according to sources. So, like, he's taking it incredibly fucking seriously, and he's taking it, making it, you know, you're trying to force it to be something that you can't really force it to be, in my opinion. You just try and make a cool Blade movie, really, is what you do.
And another thing I think to keep in mind is it might simply be a thing where Marvel didn't really have a plan for Blade. Mahershala Ali said, hey, I want to do it. And they said, okay, sure. And then so, you know, they're kind of just letting him do his thing because they didn't have a plan. So they're like, yeah, why not?
If you remember, whenever it was announced, it was like Feige, it was announcing a bunch of other stuff. And then he comes out wearing a Blade hat. And it's like, what the fuck, Blade? Really? Like, there was no talk of Blade before that. Nothing, no hints of it. And it just was boom. So that explains that. You know.
And I will say they made a cool logo for it. I think that Blade logo looks pretty awesome.
That's about as far as they got to.
Yeah.
No, like this movie, literally, the script has taken place in two completely different settings. At one point, it was going to take place in like let's see. Well, one of them was current fucking days, and the other was like the 1920s. So, and another just an inherent challenge with making a Blade thing is like, what are you going to do that's going to be different, right? Like, Blade was established by Wesley Snipes. Before that movie, those movies, Blade was not a character anybody gave a shit about. He didn't have an identity, really, you know. So his identity became everything that you see in those movies. And then if you're going to reboot it, you either have to do that to give people the sense of like, oh, this is the Blade I know, you know. But then that's going to come off like you're just kind of aping the original, right? I feel like that's a pretty big challenge to
I mean, I think the 1920s idea had the best idea to differentiate itself and do like a like Blade back in the day story, with the issue being that they want to keep the budget low, and period pieces are going to increase the budget.
And Mia Goth was still attached as a vampire villain, Lilith, which is a cool character from the comics. Anybody knows that? Yeah, apparently she was attached to it right up until, you know, now. But she's if anybody's seen those what is it? What's his name? Ty West? Is that the director's name? Did those
oh, like X?
Oh yeah. I need to watch those movies. Oh,
she's good.
I am
good
Yeah, she's very good.
I'm on screen. I was gonna look that
Yeah,
up.
it's unclear how many millions Marvel has spent on Blade, counting the development and pre-production costs, but it's not stopping now. Marvel has learned in recent years that it does not pay to be rushed into production, and the studio prides itself on having a high development to production ratio, what Bob mentioned, something that eludes most other companies. The new plan calls for the script to be written over the summer and then go out to directors. So, yeah. And just as a side note, Kevin Feige holds a special place for Blade, considering the Snipes movie, 1998 movie, to be an eye-opener for him and one of the inspirations for focusing on B-list characters in the early days of the MCU.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a list of all of the writers and directors and stuff that have worked on it. Like, I feel like they're just kind of doing some dunking here. Watchmen writer. I think that's the TV show Watchmen, not the
And I will say, I think there is a clear way to do Blade, and that is, well, a clear way to do Blade that I think would be differentiate itself. Obviously, the 1920s things, you can do that, but they could also possibly just go pure horror. I know Blade 2 definitely dips its toes into some pretty heavy horror, but like just go maybe pure horror with it. I think that could be interesting. But yeah.
Well, the Guillermo del Toro contributions in Blade 2, I'm glad you brought that up, because some of the monster design in that film, with Nomak and the jaw and kind of and even the CGI for that time, for what the budget of that film must have been like, that's pretty good.
It's a fun movie, man. Like it's kind of corny in places, but you can see that early hints of del Toro greatness for sure.
Oh yeah, I love when Blade and Nomak get into their first confrontation and Massive Attack starts playing.
Yeah,
and it's intercut with the club sequence where the other vampires are getting hunted by the new mutated vampire. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's a fucking dope soundtrack. And then like there's a whole sequence where they do a autopsy on the thing, and just all of that stuff is not really necessary probably, but like I'm glad that they did.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you're right. That's very the weird ass movie that it is. I remember I went with my brother and a friend of his to see that in the theater. And I guess his friend was not big into fucking movies. I don't know. Like he fucking left the theater in the middle of it. He's like, "Oh, this sucks."
We're like, dude, like as someone who like, I enjoy the first Blade movie. I think it's fun. I think that the second one really took it to another level for me. And maybe it's controversial. Sure. I definitely think Blade 2 is better than Blade 1.
It peaked.
It was one of my favorites for a while.
Yeah. The best thing about Blade 3 is the sequence where they introduce Dracula, and it has that original RZA track that he recorded for the film.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't know that was the original track.
Yeah, it's recorded special for the film. It's called Fatal.
Oh yeah,
I think the actual like official soundtrack version intercuts it with some dialogue from the film, including the really cheesy Ryan Reynolds. Like, he's the first of his kind, the alpha vampire. Like, he goes on like a little rant. This is like younger Ryan Reynolds, like back when he was kind of more fresh off doing like rom-com stuff.
Yeah,
I think it was
fresh off
his first action role, and like he had a couple of really good funny lines in that. I think that stood out, like the whole farting and I just had garlic. That was pretty good.
Yeah, he's the kind of the comic relief character, I'd say, of that film.
But I mean, I think there's really only one thing to say about trying to make this Blade project work.
Yeah, bring in Wong.
No, it's.
I mean, they could.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
It's a cold line. I love Wesley Snipes so
good
much.
Line.
I think. Do you know the story behind that line?
No.
Somebody was a badass motherfucker and said a cool thing. I don't know.
Wesley Snipes said that in conversation with the director while on the set, and the director was like, "We're putting that in the film." That's allegedly what happened.
It has that vibe of just like, fuck, it doesn't relate to anything, but we're doing it.
Yeah, even Wesley Snipes, as I recall, like later talked about like, I don't know if that really works. Yeah.
Well, but nowadays it's
some motherfuckers still trying to ice skate uphill.
I don't object to doing a Blade 4 with Wesley Snipes. I think that's an option, and then
it seems like that's the obvious way. They're going to go with that for sure now, right? Like the way that people reacted to him in the Deadpool and Wolverine, and then this, it's like, yeah, it's. Now the question becomes, though, also, how much did Ryan Reynolds play a part in killing this movie? Because they literally have him in the movie say, I'm the only Blade. I'm only ever going to be the one Blade or something. It's like almost taking shots at this fucking movie, right?
Well, I mean, Blade says that, and then you get that look from. Doesn't Ryan Reynolds say something? I don't know.
He gives like a look, right?
Or is it just a look?
Well, he gives a Deadpool mask look.
Yeah.
To be like, a Blade is coming. Like a Blade movie is coming.
Who knows? But yeah. Blade Trinity kind of sucks. Let's give Wesley a proper outro if they're having trouble with Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, a fourth gospel for Blade, right? We had Blade, we had Blade 2, we had Blade Trinity, clearly playing into some of like the vampire kind of like the Christian cross, silver kind of vampire hunter stuff.
They've done more with Dracula in that one instead of like, no, let's make him Drake.
Oh God.
At the end, I thought
Dracula was so disappointing in that.
I thought it was a little cheesy when they did the CGI. It didn't really, I think, it turns into a different type of fight. Because like the cool thing about Blade is that like it's this really hyper, just almost unreal kind of like action where it's everything's really exaggerated. And there wasn't, I don't really think there was like that much of that stuff.
In the first movie, it was all done with like editing to where like it was just looked completely, you know, like supernatural fighting moves kind of thing with him. And like he also Wesley Snipes was a stone cold badass.
Yeah, it looks really alien almost. It's kind of an interesting vibe. I think people thought it looked cheesy at the time, but
yeah, fuck them.
It is a little cheesy, but who cares? Nothing wrong with a little cheese.
I love cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some really good exchanges in the second one, like with in fact, Bob segue. He's got some good exchanges in that second movie. You know, particular with the one character played by a certain actor, Ron Perlman.
Oh yes. Let me go ahead and
you just now caught the segue. God damn it.
Yes. Give me a moment. Give me
also Norman Reedus
is in the wrong folder too.
You know, he's like whenever I forget his name in that movie, Ron Perlman, but he's like, you know, the badass that's wanting to, you know, take out Blade, but he's just like a.
So he is Reinhardt.
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt was it was the role where I really noticed Ron Perlman. He's an actor I've always been aware of, but like in that role, like he's such a piece of shit but like it captivated me, like how good he was at playing a piece of shit. And Ron Perlman's not like that in real life, but like but yeah, that was a great role for him. A fun little bit of trivia. I know I actually talked about this with Turf and Dane, but Chariot, do you know how tall Ron Perlman is?
I don't. I read something about this when they were doing, I think, Hellboy, where they
Seems
kind of
tall,
had
doesn't
to. Yeah, well, it's the way that they shot him. I think they had to kind of like make him look larger, right?
Yeah, you know the spoiler.
So you're more accurate than I thought that he was just a tall motherfucker.
I thought he was between 6'2" and 6'4". You know, somewhere
it's like a Tom Cruise situation, right?
Maybe.
It's not quite that extreme. So I'm 5'11". I would guess he's about 2 inches shorter than me.
That's
so he's around 5'9".
He's about my height, yeah.
Because he's basically like everything you ever see him in. It seems like he's kind of towering over everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe it's just like his presence is like his persona, just his gravitas just does that. I don't know.
Possibly. But he does a lot of prosthetic stuff and creature stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me if they boost him up for a lot of that stuff as well. But yeah, it kind of blew my mind when, you know, so I saw him at Cincinnati Comic Expo, and like I'm standing in line getting his signature, and like he's coming out behind the table and doing the selfies. And I'm looking at him going, I've got a couple inches on him. My childhood's destroyed.
Well, he's also kind of to that age where he might be losing a bit, right? Like, because I know that like
possibly he is 74,
where he's lost like an inch or so. But I mean, yeah, he's got large features, so you would think that he would be a tall man, right?
He looks big.
But yeah, in case anybody's wondering, I have a little clip here of him. Forgive the audio. This is recorded live. I did what I did to clean up the audio, but he talks a little bit about the state of Hellboy 3, which, by the way, is not clear to go. But like,
it's not gonna happen.
No.
Well, look, I've said this many times before. I'm sure I apologize to all of you who are not hearing this for the first time, but it was always meant to be a trilogy. And the third story was going to be the one that wrapped it all up, and that was going to deal with the Oracle, which the Oracle is Hellboy has been summoned to the Earth to end man.
Look at his fucking bits, man. Like he just seems like he'd be huge.
Yeah. He does come off like he'd be huge. Yeah.
He's got like very square proportions, I think, is what it is.
Yeah. Not rectangular, apparently.
But he's been raised to save mankind. So the third story was going to be this internal struggle between whether it would be nature or nurture. And then if you remember the end of the second movie, Liz is pregnant with twins. So they're going to play very strongly into the third movie. And my condition for doing another Hellboy movie would be to do the final act of the trilogy with Guillermo. because Guillermo didn't do the one with David Harbour, that's why I passed. The only way I'll come back to Hellboy is if we finish what we started. We do it, but I'm not interested in playing him through, and I love money.
Like,
so yeah.
Did you guys watch that last Hellboy movie?
Yeah.
The David Harbour one?
Yeah.
I will say I thought David Harbour did okay. He's no Ron Perlman. I thought he did okay.
No, I mean,
outside that, it was garbage.
Yeah, it was really fucking boring. Yeah. Not good.
I think I ended up liking, because you guys know I'm not really a comics person, but I just think I ended up liking some of this stuff so much because I really like Guillermo del Toro. I think that's what it is, actually.
Yeah.
Certain directors can really bring this stuff to the screen in a very unique way. So I think you got to have somebody like that.
Guillermo is like he's just a well respected director now, but like the path he took is so cool because he's just like, yeah, I'll do fucking Blade 2, Yeah. And then he makes it awesome.
Yeah, I know. I think I've fallen behind on his movies because I think he's done a couple since the pandemic, and I haven't caught up. But yeah, no, I just love his style. Like, I always feel like Guillermo del Toro and Tim Burton have one thing in common, where when you watch one of their movies, you can see, and you sense the style very distinctly.
Yeah.
With the difference being that I actually prefer Guillermo del Toro's style.
Pan's Labyrinth is legitimately a fucking amazing, beautiful
masterpiece. I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think of del Toro sometimes in that category of, I guess he does a lot of films that don't have the same like reputation, but to me, in terms of like his work as an artist, I think of him like kind of like a Scorsese kind of a director, where like he's clearly got a style, he's clearly got a way of conveying things, but there's so much just like tension and attention to detail, and just like it seems like he really draws the most out of all the scenes in his films,
Yeah, everything is very intentional that he shoots. It's all got a really specific purpose, and then just like the reverence for monsters, man. It's like because he doesn't. Anytime you get a movie with a monster in it that he does, it's like nothing you've ever seen before, and it leaves a mark on you. In Pan's Labyrinth, the dude at the table with the eyeballs in his hands. Holy shit, that freaked me out.
God, freaky. Doug Jones is fantastic, by the way. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I personally like, I love the vampires, the new breed of vampires where the jaws like split. God, that was just such a creepy fucking visual where they split it.
You know what? He always does such good monster design with like I think a really good mix of like practical and like computer effects and a lot of stuff that film looked I think it looked better than the first one, which you'd expect, but it kind of looked better than the third one too. And like the third one had no vision. Some stuff I've seen recently, even.
The third one, they just shot it. There's like no real fucking vision to it. But although if you notice watching the third one, the little dogs, they had the same little mandibles as those vampires from the second one. So like they even kind of held that over a little bit.
Yeah, well, I guess it's nice to have a little callback there.
Well, I think they give the split jaw thing to Dracula as well. It comes
yes, which is weird.
Which is kind of weird. It's like that doesn't quite make sense considering the story you told in the last one, but okay.
Unless you're where we could kind of say that and think that maybe the whatever Reaper virus or whatever it's called, the strain, is actually more like the original vampirism or something like that. It could be written into it, and if you wanted to answer for that.
Yeah, I think Dracula and the Blade stuff has always just kind of been his own weird beast. Like it's weird because in the third film, right, you see Dracula and you think, okay, vampire, played by an intimidating actor. They're playing up the fact that he's from the past. That's neat. And then he transforms at the end, and it's like, oh, the other guys didn't transform really. I mean, they could like unhinge their jaws or something if they were a special type of vampire, but they didn't like molt, it's such a total transformation that I think they probably just wanted it to be like a completely original kind of looking thing.
I wish they would have gotten a better actor, to be honest. Dominic Purcell is not the most.
Yeah, I think Dominic Purcell is good for certain roles, but not for that one. Not for like your main villain. like I always talk about people, how like wouldn't it have been awesome if they got like Gary Oldman from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, get him to do like a version of Dracula. I mean, obviously you're not going to get that, but something more like that, where he's almost like unimposing until like he just tears your shit up.
That's crazy. 35 mil.
Whoa.
Damn.
Yeah, and I mean with Pacific Rim, you'd need some kind of, I think, sizable budget to really do what you want.
Which is also a really fun movie. I mean, the second one's kind of cool too.
Yeah, and
The
even
second one
that's
didn't thrill me,
not,
but yeah, first
compared to
one's
some
fun.
stuff these days, that's not that high of a budget. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably sounds crazy to say, but on the scale of like Hollywood and everything, I mean, like how
100
much
million
did
is not much.
some of the big Marvel stuff cost, like the Infinity Wars and the End Games and stuff?
To a total, I think those were what 500 million or something. The two of them.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. So Pacific Rim for the cost of like half of one of those or something. That's not too shabby.
Fade, you bring that up, and I've always kind of theorized Pacific Rim was his way of trying to get a franchise started, where maybe he could do a Godzilla movie, or maybe just bring Godzilla into the franchise or something.
Yeah.
I always kind of theorize. I wondered.
Godzilla is a little bit. I feel like, I mean, they kind of turned it more into that in the last couple of movies, but to me, Godzilla should be, and this is just my vibe. I'm not like a huge Godzilla guy or something, but like the first one from 2014 is one that I appreciate more. The one where you hardly ever see him, and like when you do, it's I don't know. It by the end of the most recent one or whatever, I haven't seen actually the newest one, but the last one that I saw, the Kong versus Godzilla or whatever, it's you just see him straight up all day long in the naked sunlight, kind of takes some of the majesty away.
Well, I mean, I'll be like a broken record because everybody says this, but like, I'll just go ahead and be the broken record. Godzilla -1 is fantastic. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It is so good.
I just had a thought. I think in a better timeline, we would have gotten Guillermo del Toro's Jurassic World. Can you imagine?
Oh God, I would love that.
Would that have been something he'd want to do? Because it seems like he likes to make the monsters like even more than what you'd expect, like something new. And it's like, would he be able to do that with the dinosaurs? Really?
Yeah. Well, that's the one that has the genetic experimentation on the where they're.
Fair, I have not seen that one.
She's got it.
Yeah.
Haven't seen the last two.
There's like a subplot in that where there's like a scientist who's like trying to engineer new dinosaurs, and like there's a businessman, and there's just so many little, because Del Toro, for those who don't know, huge left-wing kind of figure, very like Pan's Labyrinth is literally about Spanish anarchists fighting Spanish fascists.
Yeah, you can tell where his politics lie watching that movie, basically.
Oh yeah, it's got a very like anti-misogynist and kind of like anti-patriarchal message to it.
Yep. Whenever she goes and finds her parents at the end, they're sitting side by side equally and stuff.
Yeah, and you also get a little bit of that even, I think, in Blade 2, because there's the sequence where they go to visit Damoskinos, who's like the leader of the vampires, and he's like this opulent, kind of decrepit, like older vampire, and he's like worshipped by this big cult. And it's like, wow, I wonder what this guy thinks about rich people. What a wild.
Oh man, I'm remembering whenever he dies and like the way his skin just like his whole body just dries up instantly and fucking cracks. Badass.
Oh yeah.
I watched Blade too soon.
No, I kind of need to rewatch it as well, and you're kind of getting me to miss the fact that we never got to see a dinosaur in Jurassic World designed by Guillermo del Toro. That sounds like fucking nightmare fuel.
Especially because the big dinosaur in Jurassic World that's supposed to be like the combination, and like the cool. It is basically just another like a bigger T-Rex.
It looks kind of like how they did the Spinosaurus, but without the spine, kinda.
Exactly. Like,
hey guys, I'll be back in just a few minutes. So,
don't miss me. Like he could have made something truly unique, and gone all the way and been like, okay, we can genetically modify dinosaurs. We can create our own super dinosaur.
Yeah,
and there's a lot more interesting choices than a fucking Spinosaurus T-Rex thing.
Yeah, and you get this kind of in Hellboy, and I think in more of his like more recent films, but he's got this very like like seeing humanity through monsters kind of thing going. And actually, Jurassic World is a film that kind of wanted to do that with the Velociraptors a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's even a horror scene. There's one really horrifying moment in Jurassic World where they're using the Velociraptors to hunt, and the raptors talk to the big genetically engineered dinosaur, and then it cuts away, and one of the characters, I think it's like one of the female lead, is like sitting in a car or something, and one of like the big tough like burly Marines just runs up, and it like slaps a bloody handprint on the window, and he's like, go, and then he gets eaten by the Velociraptors, and she's like running and escape, and it's like one really scary moment in the way that I think, you know, like the first Jurassic Park film really gets across how horrifying Michael Crichton's vision for that stuff really was. Especially the scene with like the arm for Sam Jackson's character where he kind of goes missing. That, oh man, that really got to me when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dinosaurs are really fucking terrifying. You know, if they existed nowadays, if you were lost in the jungle with dinosaurs in the dark, that's fucking horror movie shit, you know? And it's scary. And it's like the Jurassic World movies, they don't show like the frightening nature of them, I feel like.
Well, that's the issue. Like, I think Jurassic World's probably the second best in the franchise, but like that's not a very high bar, and it hasn't aged great for me. But like, there are good moments in the franchise. Like, The Lost World is a very flawed movie, very flawed. But think about that scene in the field where you have the guys running out there, and then the Velociraptors are slowly hunting them, and you just see like the field. You see the raptors make their way towards the guys, and them slowly getting got. That is such a cool scene. I love that scene.
Well, some of the later Jurassic Park films have really horrifying deaths in them, and also some very mean-spirited like deaths. Like in the original Jurassic Park, something that comes across is like it's very much like a just desserts kind of thing for a lot of the really bad characters who are bad people or who are doing something wrong get comeuppance. But in the later films, like there's two that really stick with me. One where they're under they're in a waterfall hiding from the T-Rex, and it knows they're there, and the guy has like a spider on him or something, or it's like a poisonous snake or something, and he like jumps out, and the T-Rex grabs him and pulls him up, and you just see the blood run through the waterfall. Horrifying, absolutely terrifying, and also really mean-spirited, because what did he do wrong? What was he like? He was scared of an animal. That's kind of crazy. And then there's the one where it's the guy who's trying to save them in is it the second or the third film where
I talk about Eddie, where the RV's getting pushed over and he's trying to
the saddest death in all of those films.
Oh yeah,
where he gets picked up and then ripped in half. It's so terrifying. He's just trying to help.
Yeah, that's the one example of a hero's death in the entire franchise. And it's not quite treated with quite the same gravity as it is in the book. But in the book, that death is treated like holy shit, like what a fucking boss. I feel like his character was underdeveloped in the movie, which I mean, to a degree, I can give it some props because it's a movie, it's gonna have less time. But like, yeah, I remember just reading that moment in the book, just being like so like heartfelt for Eddie, because he tried and he was just doing the best he can, and he went out like a boss.
Somebody in chat, Craig points this out, that in the films, Hammond kind of gets off scot-free.
Yes.
But the guy, what'd you say his name was? The character who's in the RV?
Eddie.
Eddie, who's trying to save them from going over the edge. He's the only reason they live as well in that scene, which is crazy.
He could have saved himself.
He dies tragically, and Hammond lives. But in the book, Hammond gets like killed by little dinosaurs. It's the death
very slowly and painful.
Some of the other characters. I think it happens like twice in the series where the little dinosaurs like rip somebody apart.
And that's the thing too. Like Hammond in the book was a bit different. Like you bring up how Hammond is the villain, Greg, and he is, but he's also kind of the villain in the movie. It gets kind of washed over, kind of in Richard Attenborough's really good performance. But like also in the screenplay, how Hammond is he just wants to do the best. He's trying to make some wonderful theme park for everybody, but there is that undercurrent of like capitalism that's even still in the movie, where like he's talking about spare no expense, but then like you have like the helicopter having the faulty seat belts, the little animatronic ride or ride they go on at the beginning where the thing doesn't go down like it's supposed to. There's all these signs of Hammond's cutting corners in the movie.
Yeah.
But still they portray him like he's like a nice elderly guy who just doesn't know any better kind of in the movie, which
it's definitely the
evidence is
affect
against
of the
it.
actor that really
Yeah.
I think saves the character. Because really, I mean, you think about a character like that, what he really is he's very arrogant. And I think that message about like the arrogance of human beings trying to control nature is something people observe a lot in those films.
Absolutely.
So the like whatever he is, like billionaire, like playboy kind of like I have too much money, like almost like an Elon Musk type figure. That's who would do this in real life. That would be real like Jurassic Park Island would be like some Elon thing. Also, I never got it's really crazy how they at least in the films, I don't remember the specific. I read this book when I was in middle school, so I'm a little fuzzy, but
wow, that's exactly when I read it too.
Yeah, well, I think they put books like that in like middle school libraries to like tempt kids to try slightly more challenging books than probably what I think they give you in like classrooms at that age. But
it worked for me.
It worked for me too. Yeah, I was hooked. It's so good. I think I read that and I read The Time Machine that year. Both very great,
nice.
Classic sci-fi. But yeah, it's super crazy. I mean, I think I think the craziest death in the book is the doctor. I think he also lives. He's in the Jurassic World movies. I think it's supposed to be the same
yes
character. He has a crazy death where the velociraptors trick them. There's a really cold Michael Crichton line where it's like he simply wanted to live and the raptors denied him that. And it's like, oh my God, what a writer, dude.
Yeah, I want to say he like gets disemboweled or something quite horrifically. It's like,
yeah, it's the female, the woman who's the female lead, one of the scientists is trying to get it in the book. She's trying to get into the building and he tries to let her in, but the raptors do a thing where they're like waiting above the building for her to get let in. So they're letting her escape so that they can get him. And he figures it out too late. It's like a great little kill. Yeah, Wu, Dr. Wu.
Wu,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh my God. And the actor who plays him also very good in the film.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was nice to bring him back, but yeah, they gave him kind of an arc in the trilogy, the Jurassic World trilogy that I don't know quite suit his character. And I know Turf's about ready to say that he is staying for the rest of the stream.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
that's what I wanted to say. Of course. Yeah. No, I definitely get going.
Yeah, of
You
course.
guys have fun. See you.
Yeah.
Later.
We'll hold it down. Yeah. Good talk.
Yes.
Bye, Turf. Bye.
Oh,
bye.
Jesus Christ. Hey,
you try to get out when I
I thought I could sneak out without you noticing.
No, you can't.
Nope.
I see everything, motherfucker.
I'm sorry.
Have a good one, dude.
Are you gonna fire me for this?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, the weird thing is, we fired you like over a year ago, and you still keep on coming in.
That's true.
I guess the fact that we don't pay you kind of makes it harder to fire you.
Wait, I don't get paid for this?
We're trying. No, you get paid for it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
You don't know the difference because you live in a socialist country. So
yeah,
that is
checks
true.
in the mail, bro. Checks in the mail.
We're very close to communism. Maybe next elections. Anyway, see you guys
later.
Bye.
We do have something that popped up on the radar right before the show today, which is that it has to do with a member of the stream that is not here today. But he was targeted viciously.
True.
They targeted gamers.
So Eric Bunks has been the victim of a targeted strike by a channel that is actually kind of it's a spawn of Tim Pool.
Ooh.
Yeah, so let me see. Got a thumbnail that I didn't even have.
Spawn of Tim sounds like a B horror movie.
Well, I mean, Spawn of Tim, named Timcast.
Well, I did make this a horror themed thumbnail that I didn't even get to use it on a stream because I made it so late. But
maybe this is the family he was talking about. I don't know.
Maybe this might be his kids. Maybe is this his daughter? Maybe. But yeah, that was a pop culture crisis. Yeah. And this is just a screenshot that I happened to grab from a video I stumbled upon on Twitter like 2 weeks ago, where I was just like, God, is she okay, man? Like, she legit looks, I don't know, I hope, I'm not trying to be a dick really, but I mean, I know that's kind of a consequence of talking about it in this context, but like, she seems like she's not okay and maybe needs some kind of help in some way. But yeah, they actually, so they had a video that they put up called something about our haters or some shit. Going after our biggest haters is what's funny about it, because Eric Debunk's made one video about them. It's one of his least his worst performing videos that he's done about them, and they decided that he is one of their biggest haters, and covered him. I don't know if he's first or exclusively in this video of theirs. We'll find out in a second, but it's definitely the first one that came up whenever I scanned through it earlier.
That is interesting.
Clapping back at our haters, it says, reacting to some of our biggest haters. Okay. Well, let's see what that's about. We got to defend our man,
Yeah. I'm sure they don't humiliate themselves during this.
There it is, reacting to some of our biggest haters. All right.
Doing, I think, maybe one of the very first hate videos about our channel from a channel called Eric Debunks. It's titled Pop Culture Crisis, Outraged by Victoria's Secret Fashion Show, including trans models, Timcast garbage. And this person's name is Eric, spelled Airrick. So your parents did you dirty, but
well, I mean, talk about going after the points and
my parents really did me dirty by putting a 4 in my name. Crazy.
Yeah, numbers in your name. It's weird. Like, I don't understand why my parents named me Chaos. That's so weird.
Yeah, famously, everybody uses their real name on the internet.
Just real quick, guys. She's talking about a really based channel, Eric Debunks. I'll put the link in there for you.
I liked his coverage, by the way. If anybody wants to check it out, he talked about the some of the response to the Victoria's Secret thing. I think the one that I saw was about somebody else. He might have done like more than one. I love watching Eric cover Melanie Mac because he gets so frustrated like halfway through the video and he quits. And it's like, he's somebody who can really entertain a lot of bullshit. So it is funny seeing what's like a bridge too far. Because I mean, she just babbles.
It's special nonsense. Stupid. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I usually keep up with his videos, and the video they're responding to is actually one I never got around to. It looks like they probably got a little surge in views since they've responded to it.
Putin totally isn't behind this. It feels like a lot of these, like, I don't want to be rude because I understand making like content where you're on your live stream and then you clip it for your channel, but it feels like some of the content like that's more conservative stuff where they talk about like trans people or whatever, and then that's the whole video. It feels really low effort. Like, it's just like, rah, I hate the LGTB community.
Yeah.
I don't,
and it's
I hate the homophones, rah.
Bro, well, it's not even subtle too. Like, like when you watch Eric July like start up one of these videos and it's an interview with a creator who just happens to have like, weird color hair, and he will like pause it, and then the whole like rest of the 7 minutes or whatever will just be him freaking out, be like, oh my God, look at this SJW.
You can carve out a little niche audience if you do the bigotry the way that, like those guys earlier we watched, right? You can carve out a niche audience with that, but like if you're wanting to hit the mainstream, you got to just go straight at the transes and like
True.
that's it basically. Because anything else you can deviate. You know, if you start doing a little bit too much misogyny or a little bit too much homophobia, then generally mainstream audience isn't gonna stick with that much too long. So yeah, it seems like if it's just the way to go if you want to be that you know, appearing like a normie, you know, a apolitical pop culture show or whatever. But yeah, just take take the laziest fucking aim at trans people as possible. Also, you know, be sure to lie. You have to lie. Like you have to.
I gotta say this. If anybody has ever thought, because I've seen and I've held off on ever responding to anybody like this. I've seen a lot of low effort content from, you know, channels that aren't like the major like right wing channels or like some of the big like you know, the people that you guys talk about more often than not, the people who have real money behind them. It's if you're a small channel and you're thinking about making content like this, I got to tell you, it's really not worth it. Because it's one thing to have some kind of regressive or biased views about a minority group. But like you can have those views. And then if, you know, 5-10 years later, you're like, man, I don't think that anymore. People will accept you more or less. You know, there's crazies on all sides of every political discussion. But for the most part, people will be like, oh, you know, I'm glad that you've, you know, improved and I'm glad that we can now talk and connect. But if you're somebody making money on that stuff, you're going to be viewed with suspicion potentially for the rest of your life. Do not attach your name to a hateful brand. It's people like this, like, you know, the Endymions of the world, they're never going to stop because they have nothing else. You can't pivot into anything else after this. It's just right-wing content forever. And you better hope the money doesn't dry up. You better hope you keep getting those Putin bucks. Because I mean, it's easy money at first, but then it's all you got.
As you can see, he's literally never covered them before. As far as at least based on a cursory, I think he did tell us that, that he's never talked about them before. And then you look at his, you know, his average views, they tend to be, you know, anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000-3,000 for one of these that he just kind of, you know, Critical Drinker is going to get a little bit more for sure. Tends to happen. And then you got, and I imagine that this is his most recent video 5 days ago, and it's got 1,000 views now. That's probably a lot of that came since they put their video out.
Yeah, because I know, like, it was one I hadn't seen. I also noticed the views on it weren't as big as a lot of the other videos he usually does. But yeah, I bet you it spiked after they've responded.
And I wonder what kind of stuff we'd see in the comments. Well, no, that wouldn't be fair because he gets some shitty people in his comments regardless. So, you know, can't assume that all the shitty comments would be from their audience or anything. But yeah, just interesting that I mean, I he's a reasonable guy. He might be a little animated whenever he talks about people, but I think he's probably one of the most fair critics of all of us. You know, definitely more fair than me generally. And so it was just weird for them to be like, this is our biggest hater with his under 1,000 views video the first time he ever talked about us.
Also, like, I gotta be honest, you're not gonna find that many like progressive people in the LGBT community who are also absolutely willing to sit down and have like a perfectly chill discussion with you despite your disagreements. I've seen Eric do that with people who are more conservative several times.
It's amazing. Like, and honestly, it's been crazy to see the consequence of that, which is that, I mean, for example, Ethan Van Sciver just like chose, I guess the path he decided to go was like, okay, I'm not going to fuck with this guy. Basically, he, you know, he's not what I've had in my mind of what a gay man on the internet does, right? Like he's actually can fucking hold his own, make a good point. He's got gravitas when he speaks. You know what I mean? Like that's what it seems to me. Ethan has decided, and then you know other people just fucking Hypnotic refused to even debate him unless it was in a complete specific context. And like, oh, a couple of weeks from now on my show, yeah, they're scared of him.
Under a full moon on a clear night.
Yeah,
right. He is he's pretty great.
Perform the salt circle ritual to summon Hypnotic for a debate.
So let's see what now, you know, it's a good thing she's wearing makeup in this one, honestly, because like she really looked bad in that other one. You can tell she's kind of caked it on her eyes here, but that's okay. We'll see what she has to say.
We are going to react to this video And
well, first let's
not
show the
like
thumbnail.
debunk it. Like we're just gonna laugh at it because it's hilarious, and the thumbnail.
The thumbnail's amazing.
The thumbnail is just incredible, like chef's kiss.
That is my hair is fantastic.
How did Phil make it out of that unscathed?
Phil got out of it unscathed. That's all right. That's all right.
So it says these guys are the worst. They have a clown wig on Brett and a clown nose on me. If you're listening rather than watching, but we're gonna play it and hear what Eric, who calls himself Bear Daddy Supreme, has to say about our video on Victoria's Secret.
Here we go.
I'm bored, and for the first time ever, let's react to Pop Culture Crisis. Okay, a little context of this video. Today, they're going to be talking about Victoria's Secret's fashion show and the inclusion of trans models, as well as people of different shapes and sizes. So, that being said, let's get into this.
The Victoria's Secret fashion show just came back from a long hiatus. They went on hiatus back in 2019 and finally decided to bring it back. And people were really hoping that this would be a return to form for the brand. They'd finally bring sexy back. And that is unfortunately not what happened. They missed.
I mean, the entire brand is built on sex appeal. People have been buying, like Victoria's Secret has been making stuff since their last fashion show. It's not like they just stopped making things. Like fashion show over, no Victoria's Secret stuff. That's not the way it works.
The fashion show was on hiatus, not the brand.
So bringing sexy back, like
his point.
Okay, maybe, but they've been making garments.
Wait, can we pause just a second? I'm not even bringing this up for no reason, but this guy, this YouTuber, he is gay. Okay, so he does think himself an authority on sex appeal and what appeals to straight men despite being gay.
What?
We'll continue now.
Where?
I don't know that he said that.
Yeah.
I think he was saying what everybody knows. Can you pause it for a second? I just want to say, I think it's hella sus.
I don't have the power.
The mark again.
Dude.
Brand.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Sorry,
it.
I had to step away for a minute, so hopefully y'all didn't need to stop.
No, that's okay. I just want to say she interjects there to make like a non-argument about what Eric was saying.
Yeah.
But if you notice the point at which she interjects, I think it's very interesting because she tries to say something earlier where she's like, well, the fashion show was on hiatus, not the brand. And then she cuts him off right as he says that.
Yeah.
Because he says something about like, well, they were still making clothes. She cuts him off right as he's saying it. And that shit seems so tactical to me. Like,
I mean, when the first thing she said right before whenever I hit play was basically like, we're not going to debunk this. We're just going to laugh at it. Like she announced from the outset that they have no interest in engaging with what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, you need that as a fallback plan because if you are unable to mock someone intellectually, you have to do it emotionally. So it has to, you have to front load that you're not making rational arguments. And then if you end up making some anyway, then it's a bonus.
I mean, it explains a lot of the debunks videos of us I've seen because in general, those videos just seem to prove us right.
I mean,
also,
Byron,
shout out to Nothing But Media in chat. What a great comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gay men famously know nothing about fashion and the appeal of women's clothing. So true. So real.
Okay, so the guy saying this, a little bit of my gaydar is kicking in here. The guy that's saying
the gaydar
dudes is giving off like Rent Daddy vibes. Like he works in adult entertainment.
We're gonna tell Phil you said that.
Like that's the vibe it's giving. Like you pay for his VODs.
It's giving projection.
His OF.
Is what it's
That's
giving.
what it's giving. But let's hear what he has to say here.
And it finally brings sexy back, and that is unfortunately not what happened. They missed the mark again.
Dudes.
Well, dudes and women. I think that this was the Victoria's Secret fashion show at its prime appealed to both men and women because it was fun, it was pink, it was glittery. All of the models were just seen smiling and giggling, and they had bouncy hair, and everything was just so girly, but it was also okay for women to be hot at the time in the 2000s. That is
what?
It's so weird. Okay for women to be hot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, women obviously can't be hot anymore.
Women aren't allowed to be hot anymore.
I just want to say I think part of why Eric might have clued into the idea that the gentleman on the right, who's just above where his camera is, why he might have reminded him of like people who do like gay porn is because he literally looks like a gay porn star, and not in a generic way. He looks really similar to Buck Angel if you actually look at his face. Granted, Buck Angel is transgender.
Isn't that
but
the guy from that band, All That Remains, or some shit? Isn't that him?
He's like one of the early high profile transgender porn stars.
No, I'm talking about this guy
really
on this
transphobic.
thing. I know who.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that he is Phil from the band All That Remains. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in a minute.
Oh, I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying, like, Eric probably thought that because, like, there is a certain type of guy who does like gay porn who maintains that kind of beard and has that kind of look. I seems to me like that's probably an okay observation. You know,
yes,
you
he
look
is
like
from
a
All That
famous
Remains,
person. You know, I don't know.
Yep. All That Remains is me and this fucking lame hand-me-down pop culture show.
Know why this narrative is painted that people who are more progressive don't want to see attractive people. I think the thing is there was an unhealthy standard.
Remember when
of
they
beauty.
put
We
out
saw this
that
with, like,
that
American-
article about the conservative hot girl trend and tried to like get a bunch of academics to explain why men find hot women hot?
Yeah.
Like there is clearly some disconnect happening here.
Because back in the day, you would be able to have those discussions without fear for somebody telling you that it was a sign of greater misogyny or it had something to do with unrealistic beauty standards.
What is so wrong about being told those things, really? I mean, I understand it probably feels uncomfortable to be told that you're like engaging in some type of societal misogyny, but like most people probably do that, and it doesn't mean that you're like some kind of abhorrent fucking fiend or something like that.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. There has never been a time in the life of a single person that you see on screen right now where academics have not rigorously remarked on the tendency of men to have traditionalist fantasies about the women with whom they engage in sexual and romantic relations. Read Intercourse, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. Like Andrea Dworkin has words for you.
I don't know.
And frankly,
I
Eric
like to read. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I really didn't think Eric was being that like crass. You know,
No.
Also, like, I think saying like, remember when these people did an article, just like everybody to your left, they're like one
Exactly.
group.
They do that. They constantly do that. Like, it's crazy because they do act like there's just whatever some one random leftist or perceived leftist says, we all agree with that, right? Whenever it's like, it's actually more accurate to say that right wingers are likely to be that.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, you say that and it just seems like you're just going, you, but it's true.
Well, and I do kind of think that like it's one thing if you say these people and you mean like a movement, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you said like socialists or conservatives or liberals or what, like, and there was a political label to it, it's a generalization, but I at least know what you're talking about. If it's just like these people, like a random gay man I have beef with, and then a bunch of academics and a liberal media outlet, and those are all the same.
That's a really good point to like think, you know, guys, just in general, I'm going to kind of try and keep note of this myself. Like, that's a good way to tell how honest and sincere some content creators being with you if they speak in that way. And like, you know, I mean, it seems obvious, but like, yeah, if they're just, you really ask yourself who they're talking about when they talk about this shit, and it usually just is an amorphous, you know, amalgamation blob of a bunch of like stereotypes that, you know, they're not specific on purpose, because then the person hearing it is just like thinking of certain things, and they're like, yeah, but that's the right answer because it's not a real type of person. I don't know. Yeah, a little distracted. Sorry.
Also, this is like a whole type of just before, I know we're heavy stunlocked here, but this is a whole type of straight woman, is like woman who smugly chuckles when she sees a gay man. That shit wasn't cute in 2004, and it's really tacky now. I just gotta say.
I mean, look, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and make up a backstory for her if that's okay with you. They picked her up off the street and they gave her a show. You know, she was obviously into some kind of substances or something. You know, or some kind of disorder. Who knows? That other image that we saw, something's going on there. And so she's just gonna say whatever they're paying her to say. Yep, that's her backstory.
A certain level of frivolity that could be had around that topic that's just not allowed.
This guy's eyes are too close together. I don't fucking like it.
Jesus Christ, we're just going heavy into the.
I mean, fuck him, man. Like, I don't. How sincere, how honest are they being? I don't give a shit. You know, like, I'm sorry.
That's
look at him. Like, why are your eyes
Listen,
so close
you're not
together, man?
bad faith. I'm the king of bad faith. Okay, we need to surf around this video and see if
I'm coming for the crown, bitch.
not allowed. That oftentimes is not done anymore. It has to always be a discussion about something that is deeper and more academic and lamer.
Well, I think they were like mad about the lack of diversity in the conservative movement in that example.
Of course you're right, Lucifer writing. Of course you're right. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, what they're saying right now, Chud for real.
That's my new arc.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Look at the shape of their skull.
It's just such a like I think this is a very typical kind of right-wing like propaganda line that they're going with right here, where they're saying like, oh, everything has to be serious and there's no frivolity on this issue. We used to be able to not take this serious, but I feel like if that's your reaction to seeing something be inclusive, then A, you're a part of that. So I would just not do it. And if you have a problem with that, I would just not do it. And B, I think like Eric's big argument here is like, so what? It's not a big deal, which is like leaning way more in the direction of not caring that much about it than the original video made by them harping on it, you know? And the idea that there has to be something academic to it. It's like, well, you're telling me the people who study everything in our society have an academic remark on everything? That's crazy. What a fucking concept. What is the root word of sociology? Like, is it the same one as society? Perhaps, I don't know, dude. It's just wild. And like, if people didn't make a big deal out of the fact that you could have trans women in a brand, then there would be nothing happening here. And I don't think it's left-leaning people who are like being rude about it and causing a stink over it, you know? I don't know. I mean, maybe they would want more inclusion, but once the inclusion's there, then what's the problem?
Oops. Let's see where you go.
Oh yeah, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, he's even got a hat.
Thanks, Philip. I appreciate that. I see it. All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Next top model. If you ever watched that show, probably the biggest model competition in the world. Iterations of it all over the place. If you go back and you look now at some of the older seasons, you will see just how unhealthy the standards were. We're talking about
awesome.
Like body shaming, eating habits, just very unhealthy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay.
Was it awesome when people bullied Britney Spears endlessly for being incredibly skinny and called her fat? That was awesome.
The whole thing where women were getting themselves like frightfully skinny is not awesome. I'm sorry. That is unhealthy.
She's very, very fucking adamant about this, almost like she's got personal stake in it.
I feel like if you're naturally very skinny, then everybody, you should be accepted. But like, the idea that women are what Eric's talking about is like the idea that that things are supposed to be that way. Right. You know, that's actually caused a lot of eating disorders. And I don't think it's awesome when women have anorexia and bulimia. Right. I've known and been very close to some people with those disorders. It's not awesome.
Me too. It's not.
Yeah. Listen,
it's upsetting. Like, it's concerning. It's fucking deadly in some cases.
There's all different sizes of women, and they all have their own like advantages and disadvantages. And I think just like focusing on one beauty standard as being thin is very it's very simple-minded.
And that's what they don't like. They don't.
Yeah,
it's the same reason they freak out anytime there's like a you know, not like some kind of model that's maybe got like some thick thighs and a chunky butt or
Mhm.
something, which, you know, more of those, please. You know, and they're like, oh, this is disgusting. This isn't healthy. You know, you see that fucking a bunch of that guy show up under every post about something like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it might very well be healthy for this woman, you fucking idiot. You know, like it might be extremely unhealthy for these particular women to be as skinny as you're probably thinking they should be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, it also comes down to just judging women by their looks as well, which is
Right.
something that lots of women have to deal with. And
Well,
I
I
will
mean-
tell you, as somebody who's been around for a couple years, there have been plenty of women who I look at and I'm like, oh wow, they're gorgeous. I'll go talk to them, and I go talk to them, and they're dumber than a box of rocks, and I lose interest so quickly. And there'll be women who like maybe I'm like physically okay. Then I go talk to them, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, damn, she's fucking hot. That's fuck and the brain is a big part of it. Yeah, and it's just skinny,
Yeah.
just judging women seeing like they have to
I
be
mean,
skinny. It's like so
that boils down
myopic
to, like,
and
if you were just
frustrating.
a fucking misogynist, you know, kind of person, then, and you don't want women to be smarter than you. You don't want women to have, you know, more developed opinions or perspectives than you do. That makes you fucking feel like you have a tiny peepee or something. There's a lot of these guys like that.
And I just want to say they slipped this in there real quick, like we wouldn't notice. But when they're talking about like times when beauty standards were harsh and toxic, they said, oh,
Mhm.
like that's when you could see a beautiful woman and call her beautiful, implying that there's some sort of objective measure of beauty.
Yeah.
This is how conservatism works. It rots your brain. It relies on intuitive moral judgments and intuitive aesthetic judgments. You have to, when they see something and they think, oh, that's beautiful, it's not, I find this beautiful, or the cultural norm is that this is beautiful. It's that I don't, it's for, if I'm them, right? They don't distinguish between their brain's judgment and the reality of the world. So they think they're accessing objectivity.
Yeah, and
yes.
And I was just gonna say, like, when we're talking about those old school beauty standards, what we know now is a lot of the way women would obtain those beauty standards is usually through bulimia or anorexia, which means either not eating or puking up what you eat. That's not healthy.
Of an actress or something getting into that type of quote unquote diet lifestyle whenever she's young, the best case scenario is probably something like Carrie Fisher in the outcome. You know, whereas, like, I mean, yeah, she was great, she's awesome, but like she wrecked herself because that's what they told her she needed to be doing. And then in worst case scenarios, another worse scenario would be like Judy Garland, who was like what 15, fucking, taking speed pills and smoking cigarettes and shit. Drinking
She was
coffee
on
to
the
fucking-
set of The Wizard of Oz, and they were telling her she was too heavy.
Yeah,
Insane.
Yeah,
she was a child.
Yeah. And also, like, the thing about intuitive judgments, judgments based on intuition, is that there's no like limits to them. Like, you can be when you think that way, you can be conditioned into believing anything, and you'll just believe it, and you won't be able to question it with skepticism and critical thought. You know, this is the kind of thing that like the Enlightenment movement was kind of against.
Fucking EFAP, because that's what it serves. That's what EFAP serves is that's why them trying to say they're not conservative or whatever. It's like, yeah, you are. You know, like, it may not be the easiest thing for general, everyday YouTube watcher to recognize the connection there, but it's there. As far as like what they support with the kind of content and the kind of perspective that they normalize with their audience.
Yeah, well, and I mean, best case scenario, they've kind of reverse engineered, sort of in the way that like a subset of like 20 teens era atheists did when there was that kind of like shift in the online atheism where a bunch of them went feminist and a bunch of them went anti-SJW.
Yeah,
a bunch of them kind of did a similar thing where they assumed kind of a cultural logic that really privileged like Christian morals and Christian ideals, as if to say, well, I disagree with Christianity, but Islam is worse.
Right. When the fact is, it's like you were raised in a Christian, based society, more or less. Like, so the things that are just as barbaric or more fucking barbaric is the things that are in Islam or in the past of Islam, you don't recognize them as that because they're just normal to you. yeah, that was where I broke off for sure. And I had a brief moment. I don't remember what the book was that I was reading. I got like a third of the way into it, and it was like some, not one of the big named atheist guys, but it was a book about how Islam is fucking evil. And I started reading it, thinking that I better understand this better. And and I got maybe a third of the way into it, and was just like, wait a second, because Christianity always seemed fucking foreign to me too. It was much easier, I guess, for me to go, wait, this isn't anything too different from what I know of, Christians and shit like that. Just, maybe different contexts or whatever, but it's all fucking disgusting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really, I grew up Catholic, so of course I'm really against organized religion, my experience. But yeah, I just think that sort of like what you alluded to, sometimes if you're not coming at it with a critical eye, like secularism is just like Christianity, but missing a few steps, and I think people have what they sometimes call like a culturally Christian worldview. I don't even know. These people might just be Christians. Maybe they're just like that. Maybe they're just built like that. I don't know. I don't want to project, but I think,
yeah. You know what? I'm kind of. Do you guys want to continue watching this? Because I'm just over it. She's just fucking saying that.
I am a soldier of fortune.
I know you are.
You can call your banners, and I will answer.
You're braver than us.
Rohan will answer.
Me.
I mean, I'll be honest. There's a decent chance I'll just cover this if we don't finish it, but we don't have to finish it at the same time because I know it'll take us longer than it would be by myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I'm much more interested in the conversations we can have based on the stupid shit they say than I am the stupid shit they say.
True.
But yeah, it's
and I will say this Eric guy in this video they're looking over, he seems pretty fucking based. I think people should go check him out.
Yeah. Would you at least mind, if you're not going to play the whole thing, would you mind jumping ahead? I want to see how much of his video they watched actually.
Sure.
Because I think his video was
his video is twice as long as their video.
Okay, so I'll skip to the
There's
next
a
time
16
they
and
play
his
it,
is 32. In typical, if you cover the whole thing, it's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, maybe this is like edited together or something.
And what they've tried to do is pull back a little bit on that unhealthy environment. And so we're not seeing everyone look like copy paste of each other.
They're not doing that for positive reasons. They're not.
How do you know, motherfucker? What are you talking about?
Why does it matter? They're not making the world better for the right reasons.
I mean,
you want to make it worse.
They're doing it for a positive image so that they can make money. That's why the big businesses are doing it. They're doing it for money.
These people that don't want you to be bigots, they don't want you to think, they don't want you to be shitty to women. They're not doing it for good reasons. They're doing it because they're fucking, want to control you or something. Like, okay, man, but like, not really. I don't know. It just is the chud brain is just when I think I have it figured out, it kind of short circuits me all over again.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say,
guys, in case you're wondering, when you're dealing with big corporations, the motivation is always money.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, this is, I mean, this is going to sound really out of pocket, but I've been reading a lot into this subject lately, and it's really solidified my views. I've shared some of this with you guys, but this is kind of why so many conservatives are anti-Semitic, because they look at problems obviously generated by some of the basic incentives of markets and capitalism, real problems that ostensibly in a liberal society, you have things like regulations to at least mediate. And they don't want the regulations, but they also don't want the problems. So they need to make it about the individual people puppeteering the corporations and insinuate that it's actually the people at the top who are the problem. And there always has to be this like nebulous agenda, some kind of secret conspiracy. I just don't think it's any wonder why people like this develop really far right views. I'm sorry. This is how the pipeline kind of works. At least admit like, I'm not a big fan of this, and I think it should be regulated. If you think that the way that the system works is kind of messed up.
Yeah, there was at least an honesty to conservatism years ago whenever they would kind of speak from that perspective of like, we just don't believe in this, that this is the, a good thing to do or whatever. We're against this kind of thing. And it's like these guys, these fucking pop culture vultures, they just present everything as if it is the perspective and the, obviously this is the way things are or should be or whatever. And like,
unironically, you could get more intellectual honesty from a centuries old monarchist philosopher. If you read like Thomas Hobbes, even he is like, here's the political system that I advocate. Guess what? It's monarchy. It's constitutional monarchy.
Yeah.
But that system has problems and incentives that we need structures to combat. Contemporary right-wingers don't even believe in the things their system requires to keep it running. It's just a suicide cult. They're running off the cliff like lemmings. It's so crazy. I don't even like capitalism, and I just wish we could control this situation.
Right. Yeah, it's
by the way, not puppeteer. I know somebody's going to hear that and get the wrong idea.
Yeah. And then the thing is too, the people that are most susceptible to this type of thinking are, you know, emotionally undeveloped or underdeveloped minds. Because it literally feels good to feel like you are right and that this is the right perspective and the right take, and that, you know, I think that explains why there's so many chuds that we've encountered, Bob, that like don't even watch the movies that they're talking about because they've heard it from this YouTuber who they know has the correct perspective, so they don't need to waste time watching it. They've heard about it from this correct perspective guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the dude has the objective answers, and you know, if he has the objective opinion on the movie, you don't need to see the actual movie, right?
And then what inherently, what is the default, the natural kind of like consequence of seeing your people in that way and seeing your takes as that is that anybody else is a fucking, you know, they're something wrong with them, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, they're
shell,
either just like disgusting, mentally ill, fucking degenerate, you know, whatever the fuck words they want to use. It's just there's no other choice but to see the others that way.
Reprehensible creature comes to mind.
Yeah. Bless you. Yep, it's all about perspectives. I made a video where I talked about this. It's like they're not, ultimately, at the end of the day, they're not against, you know, women necessarily. I mean, some of them definitely are, but like, you know, the one thing they all share that they are against is other perspectives. And that's what all the language that chuds use in particular is designed around diminishing or downplaying other perspectives. Think about virtue signaling or fucking, you know, pandering or whatever. It's like both of those have to do with somebody being considered of another perspective other than the, you know, the norms, so it's perceived norm, status quo thing. So it's like, yeah, SJW, social justice warriors. Like, well, social justice, that seems like a good thing. Well, no, but they're doing it for, you know, the wrong reasons. Like,
by all means improve the world, but just not for the reasons I disapprove of. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
What a clown show.
To have these unhealthy standards of beauty.
Women were the target demo for the Victoria's Secret fashion show. They loved watching it. Now they're not watching it. So
she was just saying earlier at the beginning that men and women loved watching it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just saying.
Oops. It's almost like it's inconsistent.
People that don't want to go to the gym or anything like that. I'm talking about the idea that you have to be a sample size. Every woman has to be sample size, which is extremely unhealthy. Not every person's body is designed to look that way.
But not every corporation has to cater to every woman's body size. That's all I'm saying.
Victoria's Secret.
I mean, if they want to make more money, they do, you fucking moron.
Yeah, it's a real shame somebody's holding a gun to the heads of everybody who works at Victoria's Secret.
It sucks when they put us in a position to
lick
fucking
my
cape
abs,
for capitalism,
bigot.
dude.
Like, God damn.
They put us in a position to fucking cape for capitalism sometimes. It's like, how do you not see this, man? You're the one that loves this fucking system.
It's just like I don't, but I mean, this is that thing again where it's like he doesn't dislike corporations and corporate structure and, you know, an unfettered market. So it has to be the wrong people have an agenda behind this. It's just back to that every time.
That really does seem like it. That is a pretty astounding revelation. I'm gonna have to think about that. Do you have a video on that? Actually,
like, has this new fashion line, like, has it been out for long enough that we have sales numbers?
Savage X Fenty. Is that what you're talking about? Because I keep seeing that pop up in our chat.
I'm not familiar with the.
That's Rihanna's thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you guys have remarked on this so many times that it almost feels silly for me to say it, but you know, you got a corporation, you know, you need growth, right? And in some cases, as far as I'm aware, if your corporation is publicly traded, you have an obligation to your shareholders.
Absolutely, you must grow every what is it, every quarter or every year or what? Like you have to have.
It all depends. It all depends.
You should broaden your demographics in a lot of ways. Like this has been the case since the origin of advertising, where companies are like, oh my, we need more of like this type of person to buy our product. You know, how do we do that? How do we market an ad that gets men to buy this product when usually it's like women who buy it, you know, and,
Holy
and
shit.
stuff like that.
Nothing media fucking. You reminded me that I've known people years ago, women who were not, you know, thin women who were into Victoria's Secret and shit like that, you know, and it's just that you're right. They always sold it to everybody. They had stuff for all sizes, more or less. I'm sure. You know, I don't know if maybe they started doing more bigger sizes, who knows? But like, I mean, generally they weren't like limiting this shit to just thin women that they were selling it to.
Yeah. If you guys check out, and I know you're familiar, but anybody in the audience who wants to kind of square that circle with what these individuals on screen are saying, what you can do is you can check out the Innuendo Studios series, the Alt-Right Playbook. He's got a video that's like a footnote called Conservatism. He makes a point in there about how conservatives defend established norms incredibly hard. And one of the reasons is that they have an implicit understanding that when the norm changes, that removes their power to enforce what existed previously. So they fight the change. And I think this is what we're seeing, right? Like, what if more bodies are considered beautiful? If we have an understanding that that's a culturally contingent belief, then, you know, that means that what's beautiful could change. And in fact, it has before. So we can pretty well know that that's the case. And the idea that there is one beautiful thing and it's always been the standard, that's not true. That's false. That's not historically accurate. It's just insane. But they have to assert it over and over again. It's like a mantra. You got to reassure yourself, you know? Fat people aren't real. They can't hurt me. Fat people aren't real. They can't hurt me.
I'm just trying to bring up something here.
I don't Dumb and Dumber. I honestly don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like, I don't care as much about name calling if it's stupid, innocuous stuff like shill. It doesn't really make any moral judgment of the person. I mean, that actually kind of does make moral judgment, but that's okay. It's not that
it depends. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what point you're making, so I'm not sure how to respond, but I feel like
that might be in reference to something from earlier.
Their arguments are what should matter most. I mean, how are we not? Who are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you know, the fine folks at the initiative have quips. You know, they have jokes.
Yeah.
But I think there is the lion's share of the focus is on the argument. You know.
Generally.
But yeah, I just thought I would go ahead and bring up just classic beauty standards. This was like the beautiful woman back when this was made forever ago. Venus de
Bro
Milo.
has nice abs. Oh, that's
yeah.
shit.
She is very muscular, not massive boobs, noteworthy boobs, not massive. She's not super skinny by any means. This shit changes. It's a constantly changing thing.
Yeah. Also, it was a social ideal because the idea was that reserved proportions indicated that kind of like an idyllic. I don't want to project too hard on cultures with like a very different kind of like spiritual and cultural and artistic kind of background. But I do feel like there was this, when you read like Greeks and Romans, there's a very different idea about what it means to be intellectual. This is a very common belief, like from the ancients to the medievals, they had a lot of beliefs about a person's character and how it could be observed in their appearance. Not really true, but in the art, something that you sometimes come across. And I think that the idea is that you're kind of more if you have a reserved proportions, you're a more reserved personality. And there's something kind of like natural or beautiful about that is supposedly the idea. And really fit women, you know, the body, like bodybuilders in the sense of, because there's when you do bodybuilding, there's different types of bodybuilding. There's a type that's not for what they call, I forget what they call it, like for shows, like for display. But then there's bodybuilding like for actual like fitness testing. And when I was in, this is such a crazy story. When I was in the psych ward, there was a lesbian in there who was a bodybuilder who was really helpful to me. And I remember her very fondly. Not somebody who has, a lot of these people, not people who have like the ideal conservative, quote unquote, body types. But there's a lot of beauty in that and a lot of humanity in that. And I think that the assertion that women have to look a certain way or that there is a beauty really ignores kind of the kind of human spectrum.
And it reminds me of something that we never covered. I guess it's a couple weeks old now, and the Chud sphere has already moved on from it. But from Laura Croft in that Netflix show, how they all got so offended because they drew her to be realistic and muscular, which a character like that I would assume would be fairly muscular. And being muscular can be fairly attractive. I'll tell you that. And how they blew up over that because apparently she didn't have the titty sharp boob thing that they're used to. I don't like the Laura Croft narrative always gets so dumb in my opinion. But yeah, it's the same type of thing. Like you have to conform to a specific beauty standard, like no waist, giant double D boobs, things that you don't even encounter in real life. Things.
What you guys, and I'll link this to you in the Discord, and maybe it could make its way into a clip sometime because I think it would be really good to touch on this on stream. This is, and I'm not kidding, the male gaze. This is what that term means. The idea that like in the arts and in media, women need to appear in a certain light so as to appeal to a certain idea that men have about women. Literally that's what it is. And I'm sure there are women who like that stuff too, for sure.
Yeah.
But I just think that like this kind of idea is very toxic to the arts and to women and
Yes.
also, you know, I'm just gonna say it, to free expression. I'm just gonna say it. I think conservative norms are kind of bad for free expression.
Absolutely. And I think Low Water Mark made an excellent point about how women back in the olden days didn't have arms.
Oh yeah.
That was the beauty
they
standard.
invented those.
Yeah, they came by later.
Yeah. They had
Just
to
to
do
show
the
how much they
SpongeBob
changed.
anchor arms.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot about like expectation. Let me see if I can bring this up. Oh no.
Sorry. Anyway. Yeah,
I'm just trying to dig up an image here of Netflix Laura Croft.
Oh God. I'm gonna dig up the Muscle Mommy's picture.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Be useful here. Useful on this podcast for once.
Yeah. I also want to say that like sort of while you guys do that, I'll buy you a little time, I guess. It's kind of about conservatism in the arts. There's a certain kind of, it's not just right-wing ideology, but it's kind of like authoritarian personalities that have like a real discomfort with like alternative portrayals in the arts, like any type of art that is self-aware or commenting on itself or things like, it's why they hate postmodernism so much. A thing that is common between American conservatives and Stalinists, by the way. I'm really deep into like left-wing discourses. They hate that stuff. And surprisingly. And a huge part of the reason is because they have a lot of like Soviet era ideas about what art should be. And of course, that kind of prescriptive mindset is really toxic to creative endeavors, it turns out. I think this looks fine, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Like, those
they
would be,
got
like, double D
outraged over
breasts.
this.
What's wrong
Yeah,
with
and
that?
it's like she looks good to me. Oh, but apparently she has too much muscle.
Oh, which she doesn't really have much muscle. She's got as much muscle as you would expect from someone who actually does that type of thing.
Yes.
Like-
It's like she still looks beautiful, but like I guess not as big of boobs as they're expecting.
I mean, she's
Do
got
you
like
think
a
that there's-
thigh gap.
Do you think there's any version of Lara Croft that they would not just kind of go after at this point? No matter what, like almost like just the existence of her as like this, I'm an independent woman, badass. You know, like they would probably find something to say.
Well,
about
at
it anyway.
minimum,
I
it would
will give you
probably
the
be
version that
the,
they obviously want.
it would be the House of the Dragon thing, right? Where it's like initially it's like, oh, this thing is bad, it's woke, and then when convenient, oh, actually, this is destroying this other thing that we don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people like this most. If a game came out like this right now, they might not like it, but this is a nostalgia bait thing, right? So it's like, oh, the new
Well, I mean,
thing's
that's
not
what
like
they're
the
looking
old
for.
thing.
They want the uniboob that's sharp to an angle. That's what they're looking for. That's beauty standards right there.
That's it's dangerous, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, she's very demure. I hear people on TikTok are saying that a lot now.
Cut yourself on those titties.
And you see, she has no muscle mass. Those arms just go straight up and down. A little bit of polygon going on.
Even proportionally, those arms are not, in comparison to the rest of her figure, they're really not that much smaller than the animated version. Like if you go back to that one and you show them kind of back and forth, I bet they look pretty close together. If Lara Croft doesn't look like Melanie Mack, then she is wrong. I don't want to be negative about the appearances of women. It's something that principally I tend not to do, but Melanie Mack is in the way that like people who do stuff like I was talking about earlier, like bodybuilding, Melanie Mack has the kind of like dehydrated like skinniness or like weightlessness that people have when they do fitness competitions. That is not, you're not supposed to look like that all the time. At least as an ideal beauty standard. If somebody just looks like that, then they just look like that. But I think that a lot of these ideas about like what is the right body to have, there are no like right or wrong bodies, you know. I mean, there's stuff that'll like get you hurt or sick or whatever, but
well, there's hypocritical bodies for sure. I like this one. I think that's the problem here. This is not me, you know, I don't judge the way she looks. I judge the way that she speaks about the way people should look and the way she judges other people and the text she uses to judge other people and how that highlights the hypocrisy of, you know, her appearance.
Yeah, I mean, she looks fine. It's just, you know, the psychotic anti-gay Christian nationalist LARPing is really the whole thing.
Don't eat just butter, guys.
Melanie Mack promotes unhealthy dieting. Oh, I know. I mean, she's talked about stuff like that. Like she, at one point, like I think she got hospitalized because she didn't have enough water. I'm not kidding about the dehydration thing. Like people have a certain look about them, and not really that picture so much. But when you see her on a lot of her live streams where it's just casually how she looks every day, she mostly just looks like a lady, but you can tell that like she kind of looks like she's not drinking that much. And I really feel like that's not a weight thing. That's a looking like you don't have that much water in your body kind of thing. But that is how really muscular people get like those Arnold Schwarzenegger like lats and stuff. It's because when you get dehydrated, your skin is really tight on your muscles.
Deadpool and Wolverine, apparently that's how Hugh Jackman looked at got at the last scenes where he had his shirt off. He was just like fucking dehydrated himself for weeks or something to get that look.
Oh yeah, and the standards for that in Hollywood are pretty crazy.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
I don't drink water because fish fucking it.
I mean, the thing to keep in mind when you're looking at like beauty standards in movies in particular is that these guys will like work out and get really in shape for like a day, and that they'll get like that day where they're in like the perfect shape, and then they'll just film that day. And the rest of the time they don't look like that. That's not like a normal look anybody does ever. But they'll put it in movies and stuff like that because
sometimes
it's a fake reality. And
sometimes for a few months or like a year leading up to a role, they'll do like like hours and hours and hours of working out every like morning. and then they'll eat like incredibly small proportions, and they'll hate every minute of it. And sometimes they get really depressed, and it's a bad situation to be in. By the way, if you're a traditionalist, that's not how your ancestors were.
No.
You know, like, I'm really sorry. That's just not based in anything but like cultural beauty standards, and also, I guess, technically how people look and translate on film. Like, there's probably a certain amount of, like, they say the camera adds 10 pounds or whatever the hell, you know.
All depends on the angle.
Yeah.
Just look a little chubby sometimes. Be brave.
I mean, I know, unironically for me, like I don't like nothing against anyone, but like I just preference wise, I like a little meat on the bone. You know?
Well, I think most heterosexual men tend to pull in favor of that kind of thing, and that's fine. I'm sure everybody's got their preferences. I just think that it's very odd that we all have to pretend like everybody agrees there's one type of beautiful woman.
Right.
I don't think that makes any sense. And that's how norms work too, is it's like, it's an idea about an idea, you know, like everybody has a certain idea about what a beautiful woman looks like, but it's not necessarily what they're attracted to or the type of people they spend time with or anything like that. You know, in some ways the real norm is what you like, and that's different from the perceived norm.
I mean, I guess maybe just, I don't know if this is old man speak or just me. I guess because I've been around women enough, I've gotten to a point where I've been with all types of body types. The biggest thing is personality. How well do we jive personally?
Well, yeah,
that's the secret to all of it.
Bob just casually
if you have to spend time with somebody, they better be somebody you like.
Yeah,
Bob
exactly.
just casually dropping how he's a big fucking tomcatting around town, fucking,
Sure. I mean,
slutting it up.
Yeah.
Tip of the fedora, milady.
I do feel like that sometimes, and I guess so, but not purposely. Not purposely.
We got that vibe. We got the vibe. We got
yeah.
I mean, there's like this right here is honestly like what's up right here.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
One of the many fandom initiative edits.
Oh yeah, way too many, honestly. Like, who's doing all that shit? I don't even know.
Her ass is eating that suit, dude. I feel like a lot of people who look at stuff like that have never worn a suit like that. I feel like every guy with a bunch of pinups that look like this should be required to wear a suit like that at least once in his life to understand.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we have.
But you know what? Fair enough.
What about this type of body standard, though? Get off the screen there, Bob, please.
Replaced by a butt.
Well, I'm built like a goddamn brick.
He is kind. You know what? Like, we roasted him, but he's kind of right. He is built like a goddamn brick. It's like he's very kind of like flat down the front and kind of square proportion.
I mean, I said this back then, like whenever that was the thing that came out and we did that. Is that it comes off to me like when he's doing that in the video, it's like, because I mean, famously, I said chunky monkey that time, which was literally just in response to the fact that I was surprised by him having a belly in the old picture that we saw of him.
Yeah. Well, what is that, like Iron Man 3 or something like that?
Yes.
The scene where he saves the people, monkeys in a barrel.
It's a Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor.
Oh, is it really?
Literally not a fucking, I mean, like I said, you don't want to generally, you can avoid it, use the, anyway, but point being that it looks to me like me being somebody who kind of has always been a thicker guy. Like I used to be kind of chubby and stuff, and I'm actually kind of chubby again, but like I've always gone up and down in my life, but like, whenever he's doing that, it looks like he's does feel good about himself because he has lost some weight. He is in better shape than he was in the previous image that with I said the offensive thing about. But he still looks like he's not quite confident in himself, so he's still kind of like holding his shirt away from his body a little bit, so it doesn't get like too form fitting while he's trying to show off his relative to the previous image, flatter belly. It's what it comes off to me.
Yeah. I mean, they say confidence is a personality thing, not a body thing. And you can have both, but,
Sure.
you know. And by the way, Dan, you know, you're allowed to be chubby. You know, you're literally a father. The dad bod is accessible to you now. It's not cultural appropriation anymore.
The thing is, you know, what I don't like about it is, I guess that I'm short, so it seems to be more. I don't feels more noticeable than if I was a taller guy. I guess, like I'm a, you know, so you know, small difference in my mind between dad bod and just being a short fat guy, but that's okay. I don't mind being that, really.
Nothing wrong with
Go for like the DeVito, crawl out of a couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that waking up in the morning sometimes.
Like when you crawl out of your couch, you feel like that?
Yeah. Well, you guys have seen that Always Sunny episode where he's
a Christmas
naked
episode.
hiding in the couch. Yeah.
I need to watch more Always Sunny.
He comes out like covered in like gasoline or something.
Yeah, well, no, there's a different episode where he's covered in sanitizer and he's naked and he's crawling across the floor.
Oh yeah.
That's like when there's like they're trying not to get sick or whatever, and and he's just like holds himself up in the basement basically, and he's just like got all the sanitizer and he's just like swimming in it. And whenever they break his containment, and he's like, "No, get away, must stay pure."
Yeah. Well, I think they did put something on him for the couch gag because he had to like slip in and out of the gaps that they tore in the couch.
They literally did the full on Danny DeVito butt shot in that too.
Oh yeah, dude. They went. I mean, shout out Danny DeVito. I love shouting out smaller creators. Really great performance.
And he is a smaller creator for sure.
Yeah, was he like 5'3"? Wasn't he like?
Oh, I think he's maybe.
Listen, he's king size to me.
Yeah, I mean, how like look at that. If there's any example of like somebody whose body doesn't mean anything to his personality, like he's got this enormous fucking personality, and yet he's this tiny little guy.
The thing about confidence is that I think it's one of the first things people see about you. You know.
Oh yeah, the French
fun size makes it worse. King size, king size.
When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash. Yeah.
Oh man, the episode hits the other actor who plays Rickety Cricket with the trash can, and he's bleeding from his neck, and the crowd cheers for it.
Well, that's the one where they're doing the wrestling thing, and they're doing the what is it? They're eagles, and they're doing their dance,
like a wrestling thing.
That's it. I gotta get a clip of that.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, that's like you guys.
By the way, I did want to show this this for anybody that hasn't checked this out before. You mentioned it earlier, and it's just honestly one of the best, just the starting points of like understanding right wingers in general, and just like this whole thing. If you haven't checked this out, and you kind of find yourself off and being like, "What is up with chuds, man?" That's it. You'll every single one of these videos, there'll be at least be one thing where you're like, "Holy shit, they do that," you know.
So fun fact, like a couple weeks ago, I got onto just watching through pretty much all those. They're interesting videos. The alt-right playbook, going through that whole playlist, then being disappointed when it was done.
You were disappointed in it? What?
Disappointed when it was done because I
sorry, my volume needs to be turned up, I guess, because I didn't hear that last part.
Mm-hmm.
About to get in the fight, man. I'm
Yeah.
the trash man. Yeah, good times.
True.
What else we got? We're 3 hours.
Jeez.
I mean, there's always this.
I just want my stupid comic book. He's not drawing the damn thing.
I don't know.
True.
Chariot, are you wondering why? Well, like, what am I doing here? What's going on? By the way, should I be pronouncing Chariot the 4 and the R and the 1 and the 0 now, because I noticed you changed it on your channel? But
Did we lose Chariot?
Sorry, I had to go for like 30 seconds. I had to run to the bathroom real quick.
That's
I
okay.
promised I washed my hands.
Okay, good.
That's good.
You know, this little 7-second clip of irony needs to be heard more, I think.
What they're producing now seems to have been created and conceived out of pure spite and hatred.
True.
Yeah. Famously, British television has never had queer characters.
Right. Doctor Who has never had, you know, I mean, like, and Pillar of Garbage made a good point when we're talking one night, and he said that, like, essentially the era, I mean, I haven't seen that episode, but apparently the era of music that they're referencing in that episode of Doctor Who is, the setting and everything is like the exact era and setting that, you know, you would find, not necessarily just queer people, like in the music realm of things, but just like even straight people that just like dressed flamboyantly and stuff like that. And for them to just act that way about that character as soon as they popped up on the screen is kind of telling, you know?
Well, I mean, the fact is also, like, Doctor Who and has always had the flamboyant character. I mean, don't be complaining about a flamboyant character in Doctor Who and, you know, what, you haven't seen the Master in the original series? Are you serious? And I love Anthony Ainsley's performance.
So
but
they
he was
had seen the
quite
Master because
flamboyant.
they do reference the Master. They know that, you know, Nerdrotic gives us dumb little rundown about what the episode is and what the character's about, and they know what the Master is. It's just
they reference it, but it's like, obviously either you haven't seen it or you're grifting. And
right.
We all know what our vote is.
Fucking assholes.
Don't both the Master and the Doctor at different points in the series become women?
Yes, the Master before the Doctor.
It's at like different points, I know, but I'm pretty. I haven't seen a ton of Doctor Who, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
we get.
So yeah, basically it went woke.
13. Well, I mean, the Doctor has his same-sex kiss. That's the 9th Doctor. Oh, I'm sorry. Shooty Got was the first same-sex kiss. I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm misremembering. There wasn't a Christopher Eccleston, Captain Jack same-sex kiss.
Yeah, but that would have rocked, though. Those are actually two pretty good characters from that show.
Yeah, spoiler alert, there is.
So, what's the streams for what do you got going on? Do you have a schedule for your streaming, or just whenever?
I've been so I actually I showed you guys that that Batman video that I made, little rink-a-dink thing, and that I finished that Last Jedi videos series, which is also kind of about how conservatives think about media. Thank you. Very inspired by that alt-right playbook series pretty heavily. It probably comes across. I even cite him at one point. Really good, or really love that. Yeah, I just I did that, and then I got really sick. I got a really bad infection, and then I started to get better, and then I got sick again because the weather's been changing a bunch. So yeah, thanks for linking my channel. Really appreciate it. But I got something. I'm cooking something. Hopefully this week and next week I'll have some video essay drops, and then next week I'm coming back to streaming. Maybe this weekend, depending. I got a big family thing, so we'll see. But this weekend, because I'm going to do some Halloween specials. Every Halloween I stream some horror games, and I scare the hell out of myself because I'm a scaredy cat. So that'll be
nice.
that'll be on Twitch, and I'll be doing that. And I want to do more video game stuff. I'm working on some major just essays with a ton of like political commentary and video games and stuff. Oh, everything has to be academic. Oh, everything needs to be studied. I'm sure that annoys some people, but who doesn't want to watch a video essay about the Batman Arkham Asylum games and Foucault's critique of prisons? You know,
losers.
You know, well, I could have. That's the thing. I realized a while back that like not that many people were doing this, but there's a real like dearth of like video essays that tie like video games in with like philosophy. And I realized a while back, like most YouTube videos about a video game where they like analyze it, they mostly just like talk about the experience of playing it or the writing of it. your channel got green light on Shinigami Eyes. Oh, well, hey,
Oh,
that's
nice.
pretty
Hey.
cool. I mean, I am outrageously pro transgender to a pretty prolific degree. So I would hope.
Wait, yours did it just get that?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I think I don't recall how Shinigami Eyes works because I don't use the plugin. But I think you might need like some kind of like I've always been I've basically always been super pro transgender.
Well, no, I mean that's why I'm kind of like surprised because like I was like a year ago I suddenly realized that my name was green on everything because I'd added the thing based on Morgan's recommendation and I forgot I had it and suddenly my name's green on everything. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, and I was like, oh my god, I was like fucking, I was kind of pretty proud. And then it just went away not too long ago. It's not green anymore. I'm like, what did I do? You know, what the fuck? Did I do a phobia and not realize it or some shit? Like what happened?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if I could recommend like one video game video from my channel real quick. I have a video about Wolfenstein, the newer Wolfenstein games, where I talk about the real history of Nazism, the history of the American eugenics movement that tied in with collaborating with the Nazis, Nietzsche and Marx and like some philosophers that had some really interesting takes on anti-Semitism and stuff like that, and like morality, and it was just it was a blast to write. And I, you know, a lot of it is summarizing the games because I feel like, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, I feel like a lot of people who watch video critiques of things are watching it instead of watching the thing or playing it. I feel like that happens a lot. So I've tried to kind of plan at least a couple videos with the idea that people will click on it and not know anything about it. You did a video about how Pain was right in Naruto. Pain was vindicated in Naruto because he's in the wrong in the arc that he's in, but he's also, yeah, aka my critique of that show's ending. See, you get it. You get it. It's, yeah. I'm a big Naruto head. I like anime. I should do more anime videos, actually.
So you guys know how Elon has been doing that jumping jack thing? It's really embarrassing. Have you seen that?
It looks classy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like whenever he goes on stage to, you know, simp for Trump or whatever, and he's like, does that jumping jack? I've got one here, and I found out why he does that, actually, and he's doing it on purpose. So. He's doing it because it makes an X.
Oh my god.
That is so dorky.
You know what the problem is with me is I don't think of it as X. I think of it as Twitter still, so it's not going to click with me because X is such a stupid fucking name.
Well, I mean that's why he's doing it, so you'll start thinking of it as X, Bob. We all will, right? When we see him doing a jumping jack and looking like a big fucking dork. Yeah, but also
some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
I guess so real quick, I am streaming again on Sunday, not tomorrow. I did my stream yesterday, so I'm going to stream again on Sunday. Dane is apparently doing a FAP on Friday.
We're doing the 2-year anniversary of the Forced Diversity podcast on Friday. And it's going to be a fucking banger. We're going to do some, maybe a little bit of I haven't quite decided yet. It might try and tie in some role playing, some RPG, as in like, it depends if I have a chance to devise a few rounds of this or not. But like I was thinking a role playing game, surround like a tabletop role playing game, but based on QAnon. I feel like that might be kind of fun. You know, where you like. You know, you end up just going down different pathways and encountering QAnon shit, because QAnon has been seen, you know, by us at the Fabcast as like the mother lode of you know, moral panic. It's just like all of them, just a grab bag. It's literally a choose your own adventure, fucking moral panic.
And I think so you could have some fun with that.
Yeah, and we'll see if it works or not. But like, nonetheless, the really exciting thing that's definitely seems like going to happen is that, well, Morgan will be on. And then also Bob of the Old Ways will be on, but then also Nothing But Media, Ryan will be on too.
Whoa,
it's fucking exciting because he hasn't been on in a while. and he was literally there for the first episode, even though that was recorded. It wasn't like a live thing, but still, yeah. And then I've got some announcements about various things that I'm going to be talking about on, I guess, on that stream. The Fapcast will be changing going forward. There'll be some, basically, I mean, I can say this now. We'll get into details Friday, but like, it's not going to be on Sundays anymore. So Sundays will not be a day of streaming for me anymore, for various reasons, mainly just because it's a really ideal day to get my family situation straight for the week ahead, and it's been kind of a hassle sometimes to, not a hassle, but like it's frustrating to when you have a lot of stuff to prep for the week, and then help other people get prepped for the week and whatnot, and then you do a stream that sometimes goes over, and yeah, so just bypassing that going forward. It is going to be folded into the another stream, but we'll get into that Friday. Be there, because it's going to be cool. Well, we're going to talk about past FAPs, previous FAPs, look at some crazy shit that we might have learned. I know that we have learned some crazy shit. We've talked about some crazy shit, because people who are reactionaries and people who react impulsively to things that are generally pretty cool or at least harmless, it can historically be kind of funny looking back, but at the time it can be pretty harmful too. So anyway,
and then one last thing.
Yeah.
So I got inspired to do a video essay, and I wrote it last night. I did the proofread today, and then I recorded it earlier today.
Whoa.
So like it's coming together fast. It's not super long, but I'm hoping to get it out hopefully in a day or two. It is looking at the presidential election through the lens of the Star Trek Next Generation episode, The Drumhead. And I had some ideas to add together some Picard versus Trump, which I think would be fun. So I think
cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
I do want to
I'm sure
mention
Kirk
something
will be-
about the Dane you said about the RPG thing and
Yeah.
QAnon. This was way back when they were kind of doing some different stuff, but the guys who did Chapo Trap House had a formula where they did, that there's like a tabletop role playing kind of, I don't know, skeleton or whatever you call it, template for like an HP Lovecraft kind of system where it's you take like sanity damage and stuff like that, and they did that but with the Pizzagate conspiracy.
Oh,
so I feel like something like that could be pretty funny, things to do.
Okay. Yeah. It's fucking yeah. Yeah, we'll look into that for sure. Nonetheless, there will be one more regular FAP on a Sunday after that, by the way. So there won't be one this Sunday. Bob's going to be doing a stream. Morgan's going to be out of town. But then the next Sunday we will be doing something. It'll be something, probably at least partially related to the election. That'll be a couple of days after that. But yeah.
All right, hell yeah. Yeah, that's coming out. Oh my god, I gotta go vote.
Is there an election coming up?
Yeah. I've got
I haven't heard
my
anything about it.
I've got my ballot right here. I've got to look up some of these measures, man. I didn't fucking know about some of this shit. Yeah, like crazy. They just sent me this in the mail, man. It's like I could be anybody,
Yeah.
No, I actually had to prove who I am, and they sent it to me. And the Oregon mail voting system has been virtually unfucked for 20 years. So
Yeah, I've actually, when there was a bunch of coverage of stuff like that, when people were accusing every like mail-in vote of being fraudulent. There's some really solid stuff here, which is good.
It's actually seems to be much harder to vote fraudulently via mail.
That's true. Did you see I forget if you guys talked about this on stream, the lady who had that sentencing, who was trying to
use her dead husbands or something?
She was doing like election interference as like a county clerk, I believe.
Oh no.
She had her hearing for her sentencing was recently.
And she was a left winger, right? She was a Democrat?
She was not. She was a
course
Trump
not.
supporter.
They never fucking are.
Well, and I mean that's how a lot of that right wing stuff works, right? I have to accuse you of the thing that I'm about to do so that I can justify the thing that I'm about to do. It just kind of works out like that.
And then we talked about this the other day when we were talking about the pedocon fact on the Fapcast. Actually, it was like the way that they go around accusing everybody of this shit when it's like by and large you can just easily see that it's yeah, it's a problem everywhere for sure. It's not like it's only the right, but like for the vast majority, if you're dividing these things politically, are going to be on the right. And like it's almost like there's a built-in thing whenever they accuse somebody of something first that they do, because then you go, no, actually it's you that's doing it. It seems like you're just doing like, no, rubber glue, and it makes your accusation counter seem less valid somehow. And it's really frustrating dealing with fascists.
True. And you can learn about them in the alt-right playbook too.
Yeah, you can.
I guess promoting a different channel. Also subscribe to all 3 of our channels, guys.
I forgot to
yeah.
Oh wait, what am I thinking? I actually have clips of It's Always Sunny downloaded already. Why the fuck would I go to YouTube? So I don't know. What else is going on, guys?
I think I might manage to have my my next essay uploaded tomorrow if I can kind of round it out tonight.
I've got some essays and stuff coming up soon as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, getting back into it.
We're real essay pilled. We're script maxing.
I will say one of the issues with YouTube, especially over the past year or so, is that it does not benefit to do scripted content unless you're already kind of locked into that algorithm. It is rough to break in. Actually take time and think about what you're going to say and get that out properly.
Oh
YouTube
yeah, well,
does
I mean,
like that.
when you do like constant like uploads of like stream segments and stuff, at least pretty quickly which things you can talk about that get like good returns, and then you can the next stream you can do more of that. But with a video, I mean, the essay it takes time, and then you post a video about Batman that nobody watches, and then you're sad about.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Well, thank you. You know what? I thought of you when I made it. Will that help you watch it? I thought.
That will, yeah, for sure. Stroke the ego. That helps every time. Someone thought of me. Yeah. Bob, by the way, let me know when you read that Spider-Man 10, because holy shit, it's good.
Sometime before Sunday. That and absolute Wonder Woman.
So your Sunday is going to be basically what your normal Thursday stream is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whenever I do a solo stream, I cover some comic books, and then I look at the chud takes.
That's going to be how, my streams are going to be pretty specifically done going forward too, instead of this random ass shit that I tend to do on my solos. But here is a pretty amazing clip, honestly, considering that these 2 performers you're going to see, the main performers in this clip are husband-wife duo that they met doing this show, and been married for a long time. They got kids. Everybody hits like and subscribe and stuff. And I know that we did share Chariot's link in the chat earlier, but that's always in the descriptions of all these streams. So, as well as other fine channels that make fine content by fine, sexy people. So check those out.
Hell yeah.
And, yeah.
And I should be available more this time on Wednesdays going forward. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, that's an
an
open door kind of policy thing, I think, is we're doing it. So
yeah, you guys need
we have a
resident
reusable link in
loony
there,
lefty.
so anytime someone's jumping.
What was that? Sorry, who what? Huh?
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say you guys need a resident loony lefty. You're far left communist instigator.
Yeah, the radical.
Is that what you are? Because I
Chairwoman
remember
Chariot.
watching through a lot of your content and pretty much agreeing with you.
You know, well, the thing is, like, obviously, I talk about myself that way to admit my biases, right? Because I'm kind of the anti-mauler in that, like, my whole thing is that I think the closest you can come to achieving objectivity is admitting to subjectivity. Like, you have to acknowledge the limitations of your framework. You can have chair do FAP. That's a sentence. But I'd do it.
Yeah.
We'll see what's going on.
Stream?
Follow up with me. I mean,
I've been doing it on Sundays.
This isn't that kind of platform.
Oh my god.
If my DMs over the years are any indication, there's probably a couple people out there who would pay for that, but this isn't that kind of show.
Oh man. Good time. Well, I'm gonna have to ask some questions about that off stream because I'm kind of interested. All right, guys. Peace and have a lovely remainder of your week. And yeah, if you can early vote, fucking do that. Just get it done. You know what I mean? If you know somebody that is on the fence, I don't know, push them off it. and have a good one.
Yeah, female customer. Great, good, yes. Okay, well, just do your job as you would normally, and I will, jump in if you cross over into any grey areas.
Okay, so what's my character?
You're just trying to get to the bar.
Yeah, but why?
Get a drink, I suppose.
Why? Just drank 3 beers on the way over. You don't show up at a bar sober. What a waste of money. What are you
just trying to get into the bar.
I'm here for revenge.
Okay, sure.
Alan, what's my character again?
You're the doorman.
Right. And how many drinks have I had at this point?
You're not in the scenario.
I've had 5.
So, okay, marvelous. Let's begin whenever you're ready.
Excuse me, sir. Have you?
Wow!
What? Jesus Christ! Why did you do that?
Oh, well, she came at me, and that was sort of my instinct.
That was amazing.
That was great,
You
right?
set me like a foot off the ground.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt.
Didn't it make you feel humiliated? Did it make you feel small?
That's what it is. It made me feel teeny tiny, like Thumbelina.
That's what I was going for, Thumbelina.
Get out of
That's
here.
the highest I've ever gotten.
It's never gotten me that high
You're
before.
like you haven't called the police.
Well, why would you call the police?
Oh, wait, hold on. Is that sexual harassment?
No, that is sexual assault.
Really?
Assault? No, D, I did not assault you. Please tell Alan that I did not assault you.
Well, now that I've gotten a little distance from the event.
Well, no, Alan, we do this kind of stuff all the time. Well, Charlie, would you tell him? He's gone.
If you do this all the time, you've got a big problem, right? She could press charges.
Could I?
No. No, D, no.
He just said I could, so...
Oh, God, did somebody turn up the heat?
Oh, yeah, you sweating? You sweating a little bit, Ronald?
No,
Yeah?
it's just the climate is